Okay, good evening, Hatfield. Welcome to the April 18th, 2023 meeting of the Hatfield Select Board. As usual, I'll open tonight's meeting by reading our public participation policy. The Hatfield Select Board welcomes everyone to its meetings and all other public meetings of the town of Hatfield. All regular and special meetings of the boards and committees of the town of Hatfield shall be open to the public and shall conform to the open meeting law. Executive sessions are closed to the public and will be held only as prescribed by the statutes of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is important to recognize that the open meeting law affords the opportunity to listen to the proceedings but not necessarily participate. During meetings of the Select Board, an attempt will be made to find a balance between hearing from members of the community and conducting the required business of the Hatfield Select Board. Do you have any announcements?
I do not. Thank you.
I don't think I do either. No, I don't think I do. Is anyone here for public forum tonight? Nobody's here for public forum, okay. So we have some minutes to approve.
Sure, I'll make the motion to approve the minutes, the Select Board meeting minutes from both April 4th and April 10th.
Second, a motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No, ma'am.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I should explain that Ed is traveling and not that's why he's not.
Excuse me.
So our first order of posted business is a change of manager for the Polish Club, and that would be changing it to Jonathan Benson. Did you want to come up to the mic to talk about this? Maybe you too, Bobby, I don't know. You can bring a chair, second chair up if you want.
Is this mic?
That is the mic.
Right.
So we have an application here. This would be, so Bobby, you're currently the manager.
I'm the president, yes.
You're the president. Who's the manager now?
Rick Ross.
Rick, yeah.
Rick,
Who-
right.
Gave his notice on April 3rd was his last day.
Okay.
So technically, I've been the bar manager.
Okay.
Just because there was nobody until.
Right, somebody has to do it. Okay,
Yes.
and so Johnny, you're going to take over and do that. And it looks like this application is all in order, Karen? It is. Yep. So, I mean, I have no questions about it. Just, did you have any questions?
No, not at all. No.
Good luck
Nice
to
and
you.
easy. Thank
Thanks
you.
for stepping up to do this. So I will take
Thank
Is there anything you want to say?
No.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to approve the changing of the manager at the Polish Club to Jonathan Benson.
Thank you.
Second,
Welcome.
a motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Thanks.
much.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Painless.
Yes, thank you.
We don't like pain.
Yeah, no.
You guys have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
Good luck, Johnny.
Okay, thank you.
Just going to get these signed. Okay,
You guys know the routine, right?
yeah.
How are you?
So,
Good. Nice to see you again.
yes.
Thank you.
So we are joined by our friends from Colonial Power Group. Did you want to introduce yourselves just for townspeople? Yeah.
Mark Capadona, Colonial Power, 5 Mount Royal Ave, Marlboro, Mass.
Denise Allard from Colonial Power Group.
Great. And so we're going to talk tonight about the Electricity Aggregation Program, the rate and future pricing.
The current supply, yeah, rate, and
So we're here to talk about some good news and some not so good news. Very important to get the word out. So currently, right now, it's kind of the exact same price as Eversource West. Town's rate is $21,991, and no, excuse me, the town rate is $22,157, and Eversource is 22 or 21,991. So it's within a mil, slightly over though for the town. Here's the extra bad news is we made a defensive play last year when rates were screaming up. We said, oh, we're just going to do something short and we'll hold it for 12 months. Eversource will go back out to bid in about 3 weeks to a month, and they'll be procuring from July right through the end of December. I expect their rate will come down. It doesn't look like it's going to come down a tremendous amount, but it's going to come down. So we'll be over from July 1st until December 31st. What that rate will be, I'm not certain. Let's just call it 15 or so. Arlene had also asked that we got some indicative pricing, kind of what the current market looks like. And there's some good news. Rates have come down 30%, but it still means historic highs from a historic standpoint. I'm going to give you what everyone will understand. You go to the pump and gas is $3.35. Oh, it's not bad. Well, from a historic standpoint, it's not fantastic either. It's just better than the $4.50 or the $4.25 we were paying. Electricity rates are going to be the exact same way. And what we're seeing here on your load, just to give you an idea, is, at 12 months you can get 14.8, or at 24 months we're down to 14.2, which would be a 30% reduction, and not a tremendous. You'll certainly be under next winter, but what happens the following summer and so forth. So there's some decisions we need to make, whether or not right now, I mean this, as we stand right now, we're thinking to work with Marlene to get a postcard out, so if people would be aware, we need to wait until we see what the rate is going to be. On that postcard, I would say the town's rate is the 22,157. I'm making up the rate right now. Say the basic service rate was 16 for Eversource. So people could make a decision and opt out of the program if they so desired for the next 6 months. Certainly they're going to want to know, because you're going to be tremendously under their rate come the next contract. The question is how long do we want to wait before we act, and how long of a bite are we willing to take? Should we be out 12 more months, 24 months? Right. Those kind of decisions. We're just kind of looking for some direction on what you're thinking. I'm more than willing to give you kind of what I'm thinking, but I don't, I don't know what your take is, if you're hearing things from the residents or not.
I haven't heard anything from her.
I have not, and if it's okay with Diana, I would just as soon hear what you would propose or what you would suggest.
So just to kind of go through the rates, the low rate right now for the 12 is the 14.8. It's almost 15 cents a kilowatt hour. If we went out to 24 months, it would be 14.259. I personally don't think that we go any further than the 2 years. Certainly we would reduce rates every bit of 30% with something like this. This is not executable. I just want you to know that. But the market, believe it or not, has been climbing right now. And that's why we're in front of you so early. The current rate we have is good until December of, it would be the meter reads in January, or the December meter reads. The December meter reads. So, we certainly have plenty of time. The issue becomes, does the market begin to run like it did last year on us? And when exactly do we want to take that next step? I personally don't feel like anything further than 24 months would be prudent right now, just given the elevated rates that we're still seeing. I just want to make sure everyone understands, not elevated like last year, but still elevated. From a historical standpoint, 14 cents is higher than any winter rate you guys have, other than last winter. Is the highest rate you would have seen. Now, even in the summer, last summer, you were protected from it, but it was still high last winter in Wamiko. Last summer, excuse me, in Wamiko.
Right.
The rate was still high, just given what had happened in electricity markets. So my thought is somewhere between 24 and 12. I just wouldn't go any further than that right now. I just feel like rates have to come down. It's just very expensive.
Is there an advantage, Mark, to waiting till in the next 3 weeks, you said the next price change for?
We certainly would be. We would certainly know what they had purchased. So there's risks, and there's so we would know what they purchased, because they're gonna buy electricity from July 1st all the way through June of the following year.
Right.
So that would be kind of a line in the sand. Then we would know if we're under them or not. But either way, I still expect you to be under them in the wintertime, because they don't blend winter rates with summer rates, where we don't have a choice. So we certainly could take a look at where they were. My concern, there's a gray cloud hanging over electricity markets in ISO New England, is because of LNG, right? And the big problem is how long does the war in Ukraine continue to grind on before something crazy happens? And that's my biggest concern about the waiting. That's my biggest concern about waiting is he gets upset that he hasn't won this war and he drops a bomb somewhere other than in Ukraine. And then things really start to get interesting and expensive. It happened to us last year.
Last year,
Last year,
remember?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's my biggest concern. Otherwise, I don't see any, we had a very warm winter. I really don't think prices should be this high, but, heat rates just haven't come down, unfortunately. This is the market, we've seen it, we've been in the market since late February, and the market was probably at its, maybe a half a penny less than this in March, and it's come up just a little bit right now. But if, I wish I knew. I mean, I don't have a
Well,
crystal
sure,
ball.
I mean,
I just don't think, where before we were doing 36 months, we're at historic lows. That's when you do something long.
Right.
And we're just not there. We're still not there. Although it's down, but it's still not down where I'd like to see it. If this was a 10-cent rate, I would say, yeah, let's do 36 months. Let's go to 48 or whatever we could do, but we're just not there yet.
okay. I mean, I guess I would, I think, none of us know, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, I would think, personally, I would think we might not want to go longer than 12 months and reevaluate as we get closer to that. I mean, that would be my suggestion. Might go higher, might come low. I mean,
No, well, it's a conservative play in what you're doing. You're saying, listen, I'm going to protect, right, for the next 12, but I haven't taken any more than I have to should rates come down.
Right. That's,
I think that's
And
probably
we can
the,
go out anytime in that 12 months if there's a dip.
right. and drop.
Right.
That's exactly correct.
Right.
Yeah.
We were hoping to
so
be able
just
to.
kind of bide your time.
Yeah, exactly. Just little bites at a time here because rates are elevated, and they are. I mean, yes, this 22 is horrific, make no mistake, but 14 isn't a fantastic rate either. It's just not a great rate.
Right.
Right.
Unless it goes up to 18 or 20, right?
That's
I mean,
correct. That's the risk.
it's all relative.
That's exactly correct.
We've had to make some of those decisions when buying supplies and gasoline for the DPW and everything else, right? You got to buy it with what you know at the time, and sometimes you win, and sometimes you don't, right? You make the best decision with the information you have.
Right. We like to have input from people who are watching these things for,
Yes.
for a living. I mean, we certainly aren't,
And we do have a resident here who's interested, Mr. O'Day. He's interested in the pricing.
Okay.
And he,
Sorry, I have a question. Is there, are we locked into this road from next era energy?
Yes.
You can't cancel?
yeah.
The town can't cancel. The nice thing is any individual consumer can do anything they want.
Right.
You can
Opt
go
out.
to a third party or you can go back to basic service.
Right.
But the town can't cancel the rate. We were asking Next Era, they're currently reevaluating where they stand in the marketplace. So they're not giving us they're not even pricing any aggregations right now. They're on hold. It's been an expensive winter for them.
So we're stuck with 22 cents till December.
If you stay in the program, that's correct.
Right. You have the option to opt out if you'd like
Yeah.
to.
I was looking at that, but some of the other firms, when I cancel with them, there's a fee involved too, so. I mean, I really don't want to be jumping from one company to another company for a few cents on a kilowatt hour. I have electric heat, and this past winter, it absolutely killed me.
I fully understand. No,
know?
I fully understand, sir. The 22 cents it's an outrageous number.
Right.
It's $6 gas.
How
Gasoline.
can all these
Yeah.
other companies be offering at 12 cents a kilowatt hour?
So what they're doing here on those bids that you're looking at, they don't have any winter in there. That's why they're down at 12 cents. There's no winter in there. It's a 6-month term. Once you start to get winters in there, you're going to see prices rise. With electric heat in your situation, I would take the 6-month deal and start right now. Because at the end of that term, you can always give us a call. We can get you back in the aggregation, get you back to basic services or wherever you need to go.
And before you said something about Eversource, they go out for bids for July 1st on.
Yes.
Now, I think I heard you say it's for 12 months, that they can opt out, or I don't understand. I thought it was 6 months at a time for utilities.
It is, they buy for 12 months at a time, and then they ladder 2 buys. So they buy for 12 months, And then they buy for another 12 months, and those 6 months that overlap, sir, that's your price for that 6-month period.
You lost me there.
Okay, so I'll give you so they bought back in November, but they bought for 12 months. And they bought from January 1 through December 31st, but only half of their needs. They're gonna go out again in May here, and they're gonna buy from July 1st through June 30th. From those 2 buys, right, so I bought in November for that January, I'm gonna use it July through December, and then my second buy, I bought again 50% of my needs from July all the way back through June. Those 2 buys are exactly what your price is going to be. They just average those 2 purchases.
Sounds confusing to me, but.
Sounds like
Yeah, so we
racket
already
to
know
me.
50%
How
of
do
the
they
number
do
that's
that?
gonna be effective July 1. We know what 50% of that load costs the utility. And then they're gonna go out in a couple weeks and buy another 50%, combine those 2 numbers together to get the resulting rate that basic service will be on July 1.
So when will we know when Eversource has their rate as of July 1st?
So they're gonna go out on May 9th, and they file that with the Department of Public Utilities for approval. Usually takes about a week. So May 16th or so, that information will be available.
Right.
And we'll know that rate for July 1st, but it's only for the 6 months, like you said. We won't know the winter rate.
But they don't have a fixed rate for 6 months though.
Eversource basic service is fixed for 6 months.
Correct. Fixed?
Yes.
It is fixed.
Fixed.
Oh, okay.
And right now, it's almost identical to what the town is. The town is like 1 mil over them. They're at 21,991
Right.
is the fixed rate until, right through June 30th. And July 1st, it will change.
So you could always go back to Eversource for 6 months, and then
Yep.
the town's rate will change in December. Eversource will change again in January.
And you can make
We
a
can
decision.
notify folks via a postcard who have opted out over this summer because they want to go back and get the benefit. Hey, the town's new rate is X starting in December. If you want to come back, you can opt back in. They won't be automatically enrolled, but they're at least, they know what the new contract rate is, and should they want to join back in, they have the ability to do so.
The
So,
townspeople that wanna opt in again, it's based on what month of meter reading?
it's on your meter read.
No, but,
December, the town's current rate only runs through your December meter read.
okay.
It will change again on your December meter read going
If I
forward.
decided I wanted to get into Eversource, what meter reading, what month is, say I wanted it in July 1st,
Yep,
I'd have to do it what?
middle of June?
Middle of June.
Ish.
Correct.
Yeah,
Takes
we can
time.
talk to you and find out exactly when your meter read is and tell you exactly, we'll opt you in at the right time. But middle of June, you want to do it before your July meter read.
Yeah,
You have my card. If we get a chance, you can call me tomorrow. I'm happy to
Okay.
walk you through that site, show you
Yeah.
what the differences are, why you should choose one of those, and then I know the town's gonna have a good rate compared to basic service next winter. And I expect we're not gonna wanna be on that come next winter, because the rates will get jacked up on you.
yeah, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a little confusing.
It is
Quite
confusing.
But
frankly.
no,
It is.
we do it all day, every day.
I get it though, they buy a year, but really it's 6 months, because then they buy another year 6 months from now, and so there's the overlapping. I can't help but think of when, I'm aging myself, but when the phone company first broke up back in the early 80s, and everybody wanted your long distance service, and we were all switching and going from MCI to Sprint to AT&T, you know what I mean? It was who's got the best deal,
Correct.
right?
That's
And who's
exactly
going to
what-
lock you in for saving a couple pennies a minute or whatever, and now we all have these and none of it matters. But
Correct.
so, but it just gets a little bit confusing.
Right.
But so I
lot confusing,
appreciate
actually.
the explanation. I don't know if you're all set.
I gave
Mr.
him my
O'Day.
card, so
Oh,
we can
okay.
talk tomorrow, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm making the best decision for him.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if there's townspeople who have questions or were uncertain about some of this, who do
So-
they reach?
So clearly, they should call Colonial Power Group, and that's 508-485-5858, extension 1.
Okay.
That's the call center. Also, if they go to colonialpowergroup.com/Hatfield, has all the
All the
town's
stuff,
information
yeah.
right on it. There's a tremendous amount of information there. But if they're confused, they really should call. We're happy to walk them through them. That's what you hired us to do. And there's better, I mean this honestly, there's better decisions than the town plan this summer. There's better decisions. They can do better.
So Mark, I understand you provided indicative pricing today. However, rates historically that's still high.
Yes.
And we should just sit on the current rate for a while before we do anything. Wait a few more weeks.
If you want to see what the rate is going to be for this summer, we won't know what the rate is going to be for next summer, for next winter, until sometime late November, right around Thanksgiving.
Right.
I still think we should act before we get too far through the spring.
Right.
Just because
Okay.
what happened to us last year, I don't want to see happen to us again.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, at 12 months, I'm comfortable, here or 3 months from now, or 2 months from now, whatever that is. But I don't want to let it go too far because I do think the market is going to run again, unfortunately.
So in maybe 3 weeks, like you suggested, or 4.
Yeah, we can
3 or
see
4
where they went
weeks.
out, and I can show you where that buy is and kind of what it's going to mean, and then we can make a decision whether or not you want to wait. But we certainly would give you this is the day that works for you. I know you have a very busy budget here coming up.
It's the next few weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it's right after that when you guys get a chance to take a breath.
Yeah.
We can get back on the market.
Yeah, and the good news is that suppliers all have your load data. So
Correct.
it's usually, we can 48 hours maybe, we can ask for executables if that's what you want to see.
Okay,
you're
that's
already
what I was
all-
gonna
You're
ask
all
you.
loaded up, so it's just, which is kind of why we did this. So they were all ready to go and they can run their, hit their
Okay.
button and generate whatever. And like Mark always says, just because it's executable doesn't mean you have to sign.
Great point.
So,
If it comes back at 17, you're like, I'm not comfortable at 12 months, at 17 cents now. We're going to pass today, and we'll look at it 3 weeks from now. It comes
Right.
back down to 14, we see something that we like.
because
Okay.
remember, we would be getting, Marlene, pricing it, we get it at 11 o'clock in the morning, probably get it over to you by 12:30. We would need a signature by 3 o'clock at the latest,
At the
right?
latest.
It's a market, so they'd have to set a hedge. So we need to line all that up as well. So just things to consider when we're thinking of dates. So,
Yeah, thank you. I think we've done that in the past, right?
We have.
We've been on the phone. Okay.
Interesting. Well, we do appreciate when you come in and explain this.
And we're happy to, whenever you need us back, Marlene, if come this summer and rates they've come down substantially, you need us here to have an information session, we're more than willing to do that again. Just so you know.
Right.
All
All right?
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
And thank you for coming, Mr. O'Day, and thank you for helping Mr. O'Day.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Denise.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Mark
thank you.
and
Safe
Denise.
travels.
Oh, yeah, no, it's okay.
So our next and last order of business is to, of course, bring in the Finance Committee for another review of the budget, capital projects, town meeting articles, et cetera, but that's not scheduled for a few minutes. Do you want to take a break?
We can, we're that far ahead, huh? Wow.
Was there
5
anything
minutes.
else you wanted to?
Wow, okay. Well, I hope that the board will have some conversation regarding, and with the Finance Committee, to look over the town meeting warrant articles and look at capital
That's
projects.
what's on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But we have to wait for them.
Sure.
So we'll take a break, John. Thanks. Okay, we're back and joined by our good friends at the Finance Committee to just get back into these ongoing talks about the budget and capital items and ultimately town meeting warrant articles.
Okay.
So you
So-
were mentioning that there was a change in the school budget.
The current fiscal year's tuition, vocational tuition transportation budget, it's currently funded at $513,000, and, I'm sorry,
That's just the transportation? Or is it the
vocational
whole?
tuition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me just pull up the current. So what you're looking at right here is the level funded budget that I believe we'll be working on tonight as well. Yeah, it's $513,796
Okay.
currently, and that was the number I plugged for FY24 until I had something a little more concrete from the school. So there is going to be a shortfall in the current budget, and they're looking at $583,266.
So about 70,000?
Yes, yes.
So we can assume at least that amount would need to be included in next year's.
More than that.
Yeah.
Way more? Why way more?
583, 266.
190.
513.
Number of people going.
Well, I know, but do you know, are there more kids going?
Marlene sent it out.
So it's about 69,470 more for the
Right.
current. And based on the information received in the school, these numbers could change, and that's why I wanted to have this conversation. When I say that these figures could change, it all depends on the students that actually end up going to the vocational.
Now we're talking about the next fiscal
let's
year.
talk.
We're talking about two different fiscal years.
I'm talking about the current fiscal year and the shortfall we're looking at.
Okay.
Oh,
And
$70,000.
Then for '24,
Yeah, let's,
so we'll just, all right, we'll just,
Let's
I won't
stick
get
to
too far ahead.
23 first.
okay.
that's what I would suggest.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
so
okay.
it lessens the confusion.
23, we could.
So in '23, we could fix this in year end.
Yes.
We could, either,
We're not
At
gonna
the
have
end of
any
the year,
other money
depending
to
if
do it
there's-
with.
yeah, if, I'm going to talk with the accountant and see what, monies look like, but we may have to put an article on the
And
warrant.
this is not, this has happened before, this happens. It's not a,
Yes.
it's
Oh,
not
no, this
a
is not
predictable
unusual.
line, and it
Correct.
does happen.
But I would think, I mean, we transfer all kinds of money at the end of the year.
We do, but this is significant, 69,000.
Yeah, it is usually smaller amounts, but
What's the whole?
Well, the problem is, we don't have money to put an article on town floor
That's-
unless you use
Free
free
cash,
cash.
right.
Or we take money from stabilization.
Right,
Right.
Any other options?
well, you don't want to use ARPA.
no.
Can't use ARPA for that.
Sure you can.
Sure you can. ARPA's unrestricted, but I think that at this point, keeping the ARPA funds where they are is prudent.
And how long do we have to spend them?
3 more years,
And
It was a
we're
5-year.
We're sure.
or maybe 4, 3 point, I don't know, 4 years, whatever's left. Bless you,
Bless you.
bless you.
So that's 23.
Right.
And so in 24, it will be at least that.
It'll be 704, they're looking at a $704,204 budget.
Say that again?
$704,204,
704, 204.
correct.
And so that was,
We have 513,796.
Which will become 583,266.
Right, but
now we're talking about FY
what did you
'24,
say, John?
Right.
which we did not put in the override number.
Right, so that's the question I wanted to ask is,
It's too late.
plug that in there, yeah.
There's not much you can do
Is
about
it for sure too late, Lydia? The ballots have been... And it's too late to change a number?
You have to have that question in by law.
Oh, by law, that's right. It
35
wasn't
days.
just for the
Yeah,
printing.
yeah,
It was,
right.
yeah, okay.
Yep.
Do we know why there's such a big projected shortfall for '24?
More
Probably
students are
more students
going
going
to
over.
And if
Vocational.
students move into town that were already going to the vocational school, or just relocate altogether to this area and decide to go there.
But we know that
we have to
now?
pick
I mean,
that
they're,
up.
they're,
just got acceptance letters yesterday.
I know, they just got acceptance letters yesterday, so they already had that number?
Well, they gave us, didn't the school emailed that last
Yeah,
Last week,
We
week?
got it Wednesday, right after the
knew.
meeting.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
But I mean, at that, so they knew at that point, so the school knew about how many kids were going before the kids were notified?
they had to.
And,
If the letters have gone
the
out.
school knows how many kids, let's just say they're from Hatfield, the school knows how many Hatfield kids applied at Smith Vocational. Then it's a
Right,
matter
they
of-
know the number of
They
applicants.
might not, yeah, right, they know the number of applicants.
They know the
like-
number of applicants, they just don't know who's going to accept right now.
Correct. So it's a number
Or
that we
any
have
other
to plan
students that
on,
could
but
come
it
in.
could hopefully go
Right.
down. It should not go up now unless a student moves to
In,
Hatfield.
right.
Because they have the cutoff date of April 1st, or when, letters are done.
Right.
But I would suggest the 190 needs to be added to that for now. I mean, for the budget, and then we won't know till next
But-
year how much of it was really necessary to be
But-
used, right?
Adding 190 means we have to take it from somebody.
Oh, I know.
So, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, and maybe we can't do this, is I guess we'll leave the number.
Well, that was the other thought I had.
Next year brings,
See what next year brings. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
It
Wait,
isn't a hard number. It's a
No.
projected number.
it's a
so yeah, you
projected,
can
right.
wait and see how things,
I mean, and I do that because if we have to find $190,000, so whose budget are we taking that from?
Well,
don't disagree with you.
well, and we're talking about two completely different situations.
Excuse me.
If the override passes and we need to find $190,000, we could probably figure something out.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, you're gonna need a lot more than $190,000. You're gonna have a lot more to worry about than the $190,000 because you're gonna have other problems that are gonna come
Right.
as a result. So, you might have to do a whole bunch of things.
yeah.
So that's almost impossible to figure out what you would do.
Right. Yeah, that's, I don't know. That's
I
what,
mean, you need to somehow plan for it, I guess. Think about what it would be.
well, you guys already mentioned ARPA. I don't really want to,
No, I don't think
personally
that's.
don't want to use it.
I'm just saying
but
I wouldn't,
it's something to keep in our back pocket.
if, depending on how it actually shakes out for FY '24.
Yeah.
The other thought is, just to add to the conversation, is the accountant and I, in conjunction with communicating with the departments, are looking at projects that could potentially be completed and have balances, so that money would be turned back to the general fund, and that would become certified free cash for the next year.
Okay.
So then, we could possibly consider using that.
Are you gonna, and then you're gonna have a conversation with Lori about how budgets look this year? and
We already are.
You already are.
We are
and
having
then
that conversation, yes.
try to get at least a preliminary idea of what money might be turned back.
Is that do you have a per pupil cost for that VOC? I'm just curious how many, that estimate is, they're projecting how many students are going to vote?
It's 20-something, I think.
It's certainly
one
higher-
grade.
Well, it's been a while. but-
Certainly higher than what it costs us in most towns.
Right.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm just curious, because that means that class will be tiny.
Yeah.
If it's 24, well, they go in as freshmen.
Well, historically, yes, but you can go in at any point if you want.
I think you go in as a freshman. I don't think,
Yeah.
I
Really?
don't think so. I think it's just ninth grade.
Oh,
So I mean, I guess I'm curious, how many projected new students, and what is the class size of that year? Just for my own, I'm just curious. And that projection is based on their applications, and I know those
I believe the
acceptance letters
class
went
size
out
is
yesterday.
31.
What's that?
I believe that class size is 31.
And you think it's 24 students?
Well,
No, 24 would be in total for all 4
you
years.
got paid tuition for everybody who goes, not just the freshmen.
No, I meant that number increase based on an increase of how many students leaving. I mean, part of it is
I don't know
probably
how
the
many were
cost
going
of the
before,
education.
though.
or move to Hatfield.
Yeah.
We don't know that breakdown.
Yeah.
Well, but they wouldn't know who's going to move to Hatfield
Well,
this year.
can't you figure it out by just taking the difference between the 704 and the 583
Yes.
and then estimate how much the?
Well, it's not 504 though, it's 583.
Yeah, she said 704.
The 704.
Oh, 704,
553.
Yeah.
right, 583. Yeah, so that's 190,000.
1,000, yeah.
So
But
then do we know?
I don't know what the number is.
Divided by
Some of the number probably
22,000,
just represents an increase in just,
roughly
even if not
22.
one more student went. But I'm just curious what the projection of students was.
Right, do we know?
What is it doing to the freshman class is what I'm
Do we also
asking.
know what the tuition increase is?
So it's like in not a perfect world, but in a world where the math was perfect, it's like 8 kids, roughly. I would say.
Right. But that could, yeah, right.
But does that account for probably
had
just a
5
general
kids.
increase, even if there was?
Maybe 21,000?
I did 22, but whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a little convoluted too.
Right.
Because you don't know how many people are, how many people who were going in the senior class are now no longer going.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
we don't have all the
There are a
information
lot of
to
variables.
make-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I thought I may have the per pupil cost, just looking at a prior email from Riley.
30 students, well, right.
Yeah, so they have 30
They
students.
have 32 students in total,
Yes.
but,
Yeah,
And 2 at Franklin County Tech.
right, and all
Maybe their
the,
tuition, I don't know if
right,
it's the same.
different, it's different for sure.
Mm.
But,
so,
because Smith Voc isn't actually a regional vocational
Right.
school.
yeah. I can get the per pupil cost.
Yeah.
That's all right. I just thought if it existed.
Yeah, you have to,
then-
you also have to know how many people are leaving.
Well,
Yeah, how many are graduating? I get it. I get there's a lot of,
I think Riley's email
Variables.
made it sound like they knew how many students exactly, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So we know there's 32 students that are going to vocational school next year.
FY, yeah.
So
But spread.
I know what you're
spread
saying, but
across
how
4
many are
years.
really, yeah.
Yeah. But I personally think we just keep the number at the 513.
I think that's a good idea,
796.
actually.
Okay,
Zero.
yeah, because I put a note in there.
Yeah.
To need to increase, so, all right, so we'll just leave it as is right now.
Yeah, you have a note there, Marlene? Somewhere? I mean,
I'll
we should
just
have notes
edit
of,
this.
as we still have a few more weeks of doing this, when we say at the end of the year, we're gonna,
Right.
make sure we keep track of the ones we say we're gonna transfer funds at the end of the year.
Right.
That's a biggie, though,
Yeah.
70,000.
It's, the timing is just so strange that's, that we can't get that number. I mean, they must know when their districts are needing to do all this budgeting and the deadlines, and you get it the day after you have a deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure, did you get those 2 budgets?
We
I
also
sent
don't have
you?
the state budget yet,
Yeah.
Right.
so, you know.
We don't ever have it.
They also know when.
I was
towns
waiting
do
for
their-
that
yeah.
information.
Lydia?
I don't plan on the state budget until July 30th.
Diane,
You got like,
did you get those budgets that I sent to each of
I
you?
didn't.
What, oh, you-
What is she?
okay, I didn't know if you wanted to access
saying
those now. I
it's
sent
coming up
those a
quick
few
here
minutes
at
ago.
town meeting.
Oh, yeah.
I know, in what, I
Oh, no,
guess,
I meant a
it-
few more weeks as we're going through the budget, that we need to keep in mind what we said we're
We've
gonna do transfers at the end
made
of the year.
changes
Yeah,
close to town.
oh,
meeting.
yeah.
I mean,
that's why we meet
Yeah, but
an hour at a time.
we need the week before to run off copies and get it. We usually make it available to the public the week
yeah.
before.
If we had to, we could amend it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could.
Ideally, we wouldn't have to do that, but we could.
Okay.
Okay.
Any
Alright.
other catastrophic changes?
You picked up $10,000 in unrestricted aid.
Yes,
Checked it.
Johnny said, so no, nothing
I saw your
that-
email.
So just,
good news.
if we go to the front page, this is,
Excuse me.
Yeah, more too, you still got a Senate budget to go, conference committee, you might pick up a little more.
Are we, is that the front, are we
so this
under?
is, currently, this is the level funded budget.
And so we still are behind 500,000? Or that's,
Yeah, we need to take, it's in a negative, we need to bring that down to the negative.
why are we still in a negative?
I thought we did
I
all
thought
that
we
last
fixed
week.
That was for
last
the
week.
override. We looked
No,
at
no,
the
no, we did
override
both.
last
We
week.
did,
We did all of it last week.
I don't remember
I
working on the
thought
level
we had the
funded budget.
2.5.
We did it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We did work on it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, when I,
We didn't do anything with this last week.
Right?
What?
Remember, we had $10,000 extra.
Right. Yes. Oh, God, I
Now
don't want
we're-
to do that.
Funded budget?
Yes.
yeah.
yeah, remember, we
Yeah,
cut the
we had
2.5% out of it, all the
Oh,
budget.
so maybe, okay, so then, all right, so you're
We
talking
didn't-
about a
Did we
different
talk
one
about that
then.
last week?
You're talking about the
No,
2%.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, all right, that's where I was getting,
Okay.
okay.
So let's go to that one. This is the reduced budget.
Yeah.
That's the one we.
That's
That is
the one.
actual.
Okay, so let's,
going. There you go.
there.
So it's only 41,000 that we're,
I thought we were
No,
closer
no,
than
you're on the
that.
plus, that's on the plus side.
That is,
Oh,
that's on the
That's
plus side.
41,000 to the good.
That's the plus.
Yeah.
And actually, if we readjust revenues, it'll be 51,000 to the good.
Right.
so,
that extra 10,000 you're talking about, was that the Ways and Means?
Yeah. It's not gonna be amended down on the floor, though. I mean, saying that, but.
That was voted, right, last week? They're just waiting to distribute the
Yeah,
numbers to the communities.
I think
Yeah,
that
it's
came
in there.
through yesterday.
Oh, I didn't see it
the
yesterday.
money, the numbers are in there, in the budget, in the
Okay.
House Ways and Means budget, if you want to look at it. I'm sure they didn't go down.
Yeah, I looked last Thursday, and
Yeah.
but that's just
they didn't have it.
preliminary, isn't it?
They didn't have it as
Nothing's passed, it's not, it's
Posted.
going to be.
Yeah, but,
But there
Yeah.
are some changes.
well, I know, but when House Ways and Means puts out the budget numbers, right, with each individual community in there, is someone going to file an amendment to reduce that amount on the floor?
No.
I mean, I guess they could, but I've never seen that happen. I tend to think it won't. And Senate Ways and Means, when Senate Ways and Means put out their budget, it will either have the same number likely or a higher number unless we find out somehow that state
Alright.
revenues just got dropped by 20% or something,
Which is not likely.
No, they just took in $9 million on gambling revenues in the first week or something, 2 weeks, whatever it's been, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know, however long it's been.
Oh my gosh. So what number?
So is it
if that's-
10,000?
If that's 51, if our carryover or extra is 51,000, what do we want that to be?
Less
Well,
than that.
that doesn't have this, anything higher for Voc Ed even for this
Yeah, you
year's.
should probably put all of it into
Doesn't.
that.
So you can put it
Are you
all-
changing that to 378?
So I was just going to say, I'll go ahead and change, you said it's unrestricted general government,
Yeah.
John, right?
10,000 even?
378.
I think so. I don't, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
this is my last week's memory, but
What do you have in for Voc Ed on this budget?
the same amount we have this year.
Yeah,
The 513?
513.
yeah,
So you should put $45,000 more in there, whatever you can.
okay.
I mean, you're gonna leave a little wiggle room, right, but.
Right.
558.
It would at least on this,
That'll start to get us towards this year.
budget, reduce the impact this time next year that we're dealing with on the,
Oh, yeah.
Right. It'll almost get us to this year.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a good number.
that's better.
51 minus 45, yep.
That's better.
I mean, certainly, we hope the override passes and we don't even have to think about this, but you never know.
okay.
All right, so I think, yeah, we're all
We're
set
good on
with
this one. We're good on the override one.
So the only other thing now is to, we need to consider capital projects. I have plugged in some here, but again, they're just suggestions. It's certainly not all the capital projects on the priority list that were submitted by the committee, but these are potential funding sources for, well, do we want to talk about the snow and ice?
Oh,
So I don't think we did.
Not really, but we should.
Yeah, let me just go back to this. Did we do something with this? I think we may have. We were funding a portion of the snow and ice.
which budget are we in? Is this the 2.5?
Yes. Where is,
This is the reduced budget.
Right, the
It
reduced.
doesn't really matter where we do it, right?
yeah, snow
were
and
doing
ice,
the
we
same.
plugged in
We're doing
50,000.
the same anyway.
Because we were looking at 140, Phil here, was it
Yep.
Was it
Phil's here.
146,000 we were in deficit, Phil,
That
a
was
couple weeks ago?
160.
I thought we said it was 160.
Yeah, that's what I thought the number was.
Yeah.
Okay. The last number I got from the accountant was 146. So there may have been other additional expenses that have
I
come in.
thought we said there was a,
13 or so.
yeah, a bill that was in, yeah.
Okay.
So,
So do you want to put the rest of it on the recap later this year?
yeah, but if we put it on the recap, we still have to come up with the money.
We do.
So where are we going to, this is the reduced budget. So we either take the $45,000 out of the voc ed that we just put in and put it there, or I don't know. Right? Or on the reduced, do we just say can we pay that with ARPA?
You gotta pay it out of free cash, I think, and then just cut,
Yeah.
but, I mean, unless you're gonna make further cuts to the budget.
So there's 50, so we need another $110,000.
Well, what
Right.
was the most recent free cash number?
200 something.
236,187.
So if you take 110 of it
There you go.
right,
Yeah.
For
And-
snow and ice?
for snow and ice.
Yep.
And don't we have like Chromebooks and,
Oh, she just had it
That's on
up.
the capital.
Oh, on
sorry,
the appropriations tab,
It's in pretty good shape.
special articles. I have laptops for the ambulance
Excuse
and
me.
fire.
I thought,
There's more than that too. There's, I believe, extrication equipment, unless that's been accounted for.
I'm guessing it didn't come out of capital as a priority.
Well, it's on here for 16 grand and then 15,1 for the ambulance laptops, 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then I had a question also about the climate smart comprehensive plan.
Yes.
That was the 29 grand, is that on there? And I think that's
I
part
ha-
of money for matching funds for,
I was going to suggest if we could use ARPA funds for that. So I didn't plug it in here. That's a decision of the select board.
What is it?
29,000.
No, what is the thing?
it says it's climate smart
Climate smart-
comprehensive plan. and-
Right, current comprehensive plan, the town, it's a 2-year project, and that would be the town's cash
For the matching funds.
for the matching funds. Okay.
I think that makes sense to come out of ARPA. It's a Small amount of money and.
So John, what was your question about the fire department? I have
Well, there's some
the
on
capital
the
planning.
list from capital, I mean,
Yeah, they had 2 priorities, 2 items for the fire department, both listed as priorities.
yep, and I see the 15,1. but there's
15,1.
one, the extrication equipment
Extrication
was
equipment is
16,000.
16,000.
Yep.
Is that, I thought there was, what is that? Is that JAWS?
It's for,
I thought new JAWS came with the ambulance. The new ambulance.
They were
It did.
set to purchase at the same time. This would be to outfit the new mini pumper until June.
So we'd have them on multiple vehicles?
Yep. If we don't get enough people to roll out, because the new truck is gonna be up at North Station, so if people go and nobody comes downtown, now we don't get the JAWS out to the scene. So this one would be a combination tool and be able to do multiple things. It was originally part of the price of the truck, but then the truck came in 21,000 more than the quote. So the fire officers, we decided to just put it back through.
so on the capital, don't we have technology isn't that the Chromebooks or whatever for the high school and the elementary school?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch everything you said, Darryl.
Technology replacement,
For the school?
elementary school, and for Smith Academy, it's $22,000 apiece.
Right.
I thought they were supposed to start including that in their budget.
The technology
I thought that-
replacement?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that.
it's definitely on there, but that's like in the middle of their priority list too. The stuff on the priority is, I mean, the roof, which is not gonna happen. I mean, he went down through his priority list and it was the roof, replace the carpet, HVAC, boiler, other HVAC upgrades, the gym floor, and then technology was on there, but certainly an important one.
Oh, are these in order of importance?
Yep.
Okay, thanks, John. I did not realize that.
Yeah, here's an extra sheet if you'd like this, Daryl.
No, I've got,
I can,
This
can I
here?
take it? Because I didn't have time to go home to get my stuff.
Sure.
okay. So what do we have in free cash?
Okay, let me just plug in this
So we got
snow
the
and ice here.
110,
You got 130,000 left.
okay, 130 left.
May I ask a question? So when we say we're taking 110 for snow and ice, where's the other 50?
It's in the budget.
In the budget.
Oh,
We had
okay.
already put it in the budget as said, right,
I thought we were in deficit 160.
we are in deficit.
50's in the budget, 110 will come from free cash.
Oh, no, but are we,
Are in
Are we
deficit,
fully
then
in-
if we spent 50, is it 160 on top of that,
yeah.
right?
You're right.
I
That's
thought,
what-
I thought,
Oh.
I thought there was some 80,000 number. Can you go back to the, sorry,
Snow and ice?
yeah, sorry.
Is it 50,000 here?
That's for fiscal year 2024.
Right.
We're talking about $160,000 we need for fiscal year 2023, right?
Yes.
Oh, so it's.
So
still
we used 110,
And you had budgeted something.
but if
We had
this is,
budgeted, we had
this is-
budgeted
this is the
50.
deficit, I understand.
23.
Okay,
So
so,
really, it's not 110, it's 160 we need.
Right.
Well,
yeah,
that's
no,
my
no.
understanding, that's the deficit part of it, meaning the 50
Beyond
was
the
spent,
budget.
right?
Right, so
210.
We want to fund the deficit.
Oh.
Thank you, okay.
Right, right.
210 total.
Right.
Okay,
well, that makes it.
No, I just want to make sure we're all saying the
so,
same.
so on free cash, we got to change that number
260.
to 160. Good catch, Brian.
That makes it easy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how to spend the rest of the free cash, yeah.
Because there's nothing left.
There's nothing left.
Well, there's 75 left, 76 left.
So then we can take out the 50,000.
No, you
Right?
can't
No,
take it
because
out.
that's for fiscal year 2024,
That's,
right?
But these are deficits here.
That's for
Oh,
a deficit.
well, if that,
Right, we were going to take, right, we're taking care of the current FY23 deficit.
with an additional,
Right,
Yeah,
that
don't
was
put
our
that,
intent.
yes, take that out of there.
So you
Yeah.
want to take it
That
out.
should
We're
be-
putting the 160 from free
Yes, that
cash.
should be out of there.
but
Okay,
if you take that out, then it's going to change our year, our
Yes,
cap by $50,000.
yes, because you spent 160,000 on free cash, yes.
there you are.
Yeah,
is that right?
Then we're back
Okay.
to,
right.
what are we gonna take, I guess, my point, do we want to spend the 50,000? Do we want to
So-
spend it in capital items, or do we want to put it towards?
I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter how you do this. Either way, you have the $50,000 one way or another. It's just where.
Whether you put it on Vogue or you put it on Snow and Ice, right? Is that what you're saying for?
Whether you have it on the deficit page to be made up on the recap, or whether you have it coming out of free cash, it's the same money.
It's the same.
So really, all you did there was you took it off the recap and you put it into free cash, and now you can spend the money out of the recap, out of the taxation
Right.
instead. It doesn't really make any difference.
So
So
we have
when we were saying the $50,000 was not for the future budget, it was the recap 50
Correct,
for the past year.
right. So we have that 50 and we have 76.
Right.
From
It was a
free ca- from
placeholder.
free cash.
It was a
I mean,
placeholder
yes.
is what it was, yeah.
Right.
So then it goes to, so what have we decided? We've only added the 160, right?
Correct.
So.
I would put 30,000 more into Voc, at least so you're up to the number that you have this year. You know what I mean? Like,
I was thinking like split the difference.
otherwise you're gonna, I mean, there's no way you're going below this year's number next year.
Right,
That's not gonna
agreed.
happen. It's,
It just creates less
the
pain
difference
this
is
time next year.
right, the difference is $140,000.
There's still going to be pain,
Still.
but it
Yeah.
offsets it.
Right. So I mean, unless we want to figure out how to come up with $200,000 next year, which is all the money we have next year, basically, probably, you know, all the new, most of the new money you have every year is about $275,000.
So what do you want, so,
So add 30 here?
Just make it,
Yeah.
well, or you can make it
I
600,000,
mean, that way, Brian, if
whatever.
the number comes down, like you said, somewhat, you know, you're in the ballpark at least.
Right.
Yeah,
You're not
making
gonna
it an
get
even
killed next
600
year.
makes
Oops.
600.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it needs another 0. There you go.
and so that'll bring us.
You know, they get acceptance letters, but they
Yeah,
could decide to do
And if
something
it all
different.
works out
Yeah.
better than that, then
Yeah.
great, you're
I mean,
in a better
it shouldn't
place.
go higher, so.
right.
That gets us to 15. So do we want, I mean, that doesn't give us very much more to spend anywhere.
No,
So can we go back to articles,
Yeah, we,
special articles?
yeah.
So the money for the laptops for the fire department, that would come from ambulance surplus. The chief is okay with that. And then the mini splits for the second floor, that is a priority. That is
What's going on?
70,
Before it's a priority.
that's about 70,000.
Okay.
6, 7, yeah.
Explain-
Thought it was 20.
why does it
Well,
say-
20,000 would come from cable enterprise retained earnings. 20,000, let's see, it's a $51,000 project. 20,000 from cable retained earnings. Another suggestion to use ARPA funds, 31,000. So you wouldn't plug that in here.
And what are
Can
we
you
using?
explain why mini splits is a priority?
On the second, this is for the second floor upstairs to heat it. The heating, so, and this includes electrical wiring as well up there. The mini
Well,
splits,
he's, but he's
electrical
asking
wiring.
why it's a priority.
Right.
Not what it
What's
is.
going up there?
To heat the building up there. Well, I mean, it gets minimal heating from the boiler system. Phil could speak to it as well.
I think what you're getting at,
acquired
though,
the
is
quote.
not
What are
the
we gonna be doing
project.
up
It
there?
is, why is it needed?
Right.
Why do we need to have the second floor have all of that? No one's, you know, like, no, I understand, but
Use it.
to use it.
Right.
But, and so is the plan to move the studio up there?
Nobody has approved me moving yet.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, we haven't made decisions about that. floor.
Regardless if the cable studio is relocated there, Phil, I know you've had conversations about this, that it is necessary to install and update the electrical. Install heating, additional heating, and update the electrical.
Yes, because the overall plan is to move everything up there and have another reading space up there.
So can I give my 2 cents? If what we're faced with is a 2.5 reduction budget, I all of a sudden think that has no priority.
I would agree with you.
That's my person, I understand, I don't want the building to burn down, but I suppose if you're gonna use ARPA or something, but I don't know.
Well, we can use, it does get the, I see what you're saying, because we, you know, I mean, and there's been so much haggling about that space and who wants it and what it's going to be used for, but at the same time, if the work is done, we can use 20,000 in cable fees, so we're getting $51,000 project for $31,000 investment. And what do you do with the cable money if you don't do the project? It just sits there?
That's there.
But if we
But
do,
you
the
can't use it for general renovation.
That's what, oh, no, I know that.
Unless
Unless you're going up there.
Right.
but if we took the 31, we kind of have to take it from ARPA, right? Because we don't have any other source, we don't have enough in taxation or free cash?
No, we don't.
Right.
I mean, we've got $15,000 left.
I see what you're saying about it. It seems like a nice to have, not a need to have, yeah.
Well, yeah, especially in this budget.
In this
where you
budget,
might-
yeah.
Yeah, if we pull up the other
Do you have
budget,
something that needs
So
to
can
be
we,
replaced? that
can
they
we
could
talk
spend the
about
money
some of
on?
the other projects and see how this all shakes out and
Yeah.
revisit that? If that seems,
Could I just add one thing, that meeting space is essential in this building. This room, we're running into problems, with boards and committees trying to schedule meetings. And people have used downstairs, the COA dining room area, which they're willing to accommodate boards and committees. But I just wanted to say that there is a need for additional meeting space.
right.
There is, and I think part of the overall town hall improvements through the years has been to have all the space utilized. But I do agree that timing is
And
might be
it
a
is
little
not a,
difficult right now.
it is also not sort of the sentiment of everyone that space should be meeting space. So there's still, it's a contentious space.
Right, but whatever space it is going to need the
I
electrical
understand that,
and
but
heat
my
and
point is,
air and-
no decisions have
Right, right.
been made about that.
No one's
so
moving in next week.
Right, so does it make sense to do this now when decisions haven't been made? And if the cable money sits there until the decision's made, then it could, my point, can we go through the other things and decide if there's,
sure, sorry.
Yep.
Okay, the
Makes
other
sense.
item, the forestry management plan for the watershed, $55,000, that's a priority, and that would come from water retained earnings.
okay, so that's not, it's not taxation at all.
Correct.
So, okay.
It is taxation. Well,
Well, it's through your
Fees.
fees.
True,
through
yeah,
your
but I mean,
fees.
it's not,
what does that do to our water retained earnings?
That's available retained earnings currently.
Right, but then what would our balance be? Because don't we
Yeah.
want to leave money in there for breaks?
Do, so let me just see, I had this a few weeks ago, what I had
Something, I think.
spent. Yeah. So. Go to current retained earnings. So currently, we're using $219,062 in retained earnings, and let's go see what for cash. I just don't have it right here in front of me. $260,324. I'm sorry, 274.
we're using
274,052. 219.
does that include the 55?
Yes, it does.
That doesn't leave too much for breaks.
It doesn't.
Leaves 55, oddly.
Yeah, we don't have to spend it all.
Could it be like a multi-step project?
I don't know. Did the water department indicate whether that,
The
to the
forestry
committee?
management plan?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd hate to spend money on part of it and then not have it to do next year, like you do it or don't do it.
What,
Phil, what's your feeling
The
on
only
it?
thing with that forestry management plan is once it's done, you can have logging done on that property. You're gonna bring in probably $250,000 for the logging. That's the estimate. And if it's not done, then who knows what lumber prices are gonna do.
Right. So
Let's do it.
it's a wise investment. We have water, and you're comfortable with that coming out of water and what that leaves in the end, in that fund?
okay.
Yes, Phil?
Yes, you know, I mean, you took quite a bit to pay off some of the debt and loans, the capital out of that enterprise fund, so.
Yeah.
But you would rather see it spent on the forest management plan than left in for a break?
I would rather see it spent in a forest management plan. So we have the plan, it's gonna take a while to do that plan. There's 500, 600 acres that they have to survey.
Right, okay. And then there could be a revenue generation out of that. Okay, well, I mean, that one seems like it's coming out of an enterprise fund anyway, and there's that one to me seems like one that should go.
Okay.
Okay, that's all that I've plugged in here for now, but you do have in front of you the priority projects from the,
Right, but we only technically have about $15,000 left to spend, if that, right?
as far as free cash goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I would say we're good.
And but the comprehensive plan, we have to put in somewhere, right?
Right.
And
It's comprehensive.
Well, if we're going to use ARPA funds for the comprehensive plan, we don't need to put it on the budget.
I think that one, it makes sense to use ARPA funds for. It's a match for another grant.
Yeah.
It's work that needs to be done.
Okay.
That's my feeling
So I
on
can
it. I don't know
complete
what
a
everybody else.
request form for that, or, yeah, fill out the form, and the board could approve that,
I mean, if anyone, we can talk about it, but I just, that to me, that,
unless you want to
What's that
vote that
for?
tonight. The comprehensive plan?
Well, what's that particular piece of? I know there's different pieces of the comprehensive
The plan,
plan.
right, it's the cash,
The plan
right.
overall, the larger
The
plan, not a piece of the plan.
Yeah,
Not
there's
specific training, not
there's
specific
different
this, not.
tasks, like, for example, the equity, diversity, and inclusion training. That's all in kind. I don't think there's any cash match there. But there are different tasks throughout the
Well,
plan.
there was going to be a fee to the town for that training.
There was that in kind or cash? I think initially it was cash, but right now it's in kind.
Okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
Anybody?
I think ARPA is fine if we're going to go that, but I'd like to see, if we haven't already, what the amount
Yeah.
and what makes up that amount.
Sure.
I know there's a lot going on right now.
So the cash match, we were going to hire a consultant to do the training.
Right.
For the employees. That was done through our employee assistance
Yes,
program.
yes. I'm talking about this particular piece, though. The additional 29,000 or
Right.
31,000,
You want to see what makes that up? Sure.
I'd like-
I can put that
Well,
together.
whenever you
We have a
you ever have
budget
Okay.
with the state. That would
Are we
reflect it.
replacing a CO? Oh, that's part of the lease, right?
so if we look at the priority list from capital improvement, does everybody have that in front of them? The town clerk's preservation of birth records, that's a priority, but it's CPA funding.
Yeah, and that's listed here on the.
And the town administrator, the comprehensive plan, we just talked about taking that from ARPA funds, so that one's dealt with. Extrication equipment, it was a priority by capital planning, and new laptops, which is on there, but that's coming from ambulance revenue.
Surplus.
Ambulance surplus. So the extrication equipment is not on there, that's one we need to discuss. The cruiser was a priority, but if the number of officer, that line was cut, so I think that went away. The need for that extra cruiser, correct?
I don't think there'll be anyone to drive it, so, yeah.
I mean, because even in the override line, it's not as high as it
Correct.
was for this, so
So
that one.
If you're cutting the budget 2.5%,
Right.
right, then you're not gonna have a cruiser extra.
The Elm Court building, Phase 2 was a priority, but what was that amount?
It's 97,500.
Way more than what you got.
We should probably talk about that. The forestry management plan, we've decided, correct? The mini splits, we're going to revisit. The irrigation at Smith Academy Park, we
That's
haven't
20
talked about.
22,000.
and the HES roof replacement, which is much too large probably for us to talk about.
What are we irrigating?
Smith
lawn
Academy
out here.
Park,
It's a lawn.
yeah. So we can talk about it. I mean, I'm fine with putting that off. I mean, who put that on, Phil?
Didn't we vote on something, Phil, last year for the Elm Court building?
The building.
To build it.
Yeah,
The building, for
But-
the building, yes.
Yeah, so
It's up.
pardon me?
The building's up
Yeah.
So
but-
what's
what
the
is
phase
this?
2?
yeah.
for the,
it is.
I don't have the capital list in front of me, but I think it was for the insulation, the doors, the concrete floor, the electric.
Oh, so that wasn't part of
It up
what
to,
was.
I mean, make it more of a usable,
So I just went
Can-
through this, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, maybe, can any of that be done in-house? Like flooring, I don't know, concrete floors and stuff like
Too
that?
big. It's too
Huh?
big to do in-house.
Too big? All right. I haven't been down there.
So I just went through the list and made note of the ones we haven't talked about yet. Can we revisit those?
Sure.
So the extrication equipment for the new truck.
Excuse me.
That's 16?
I know, we don't, I shrug my shoulders because we don't have any money.
Right.
So it's great to talk about, but
Is this something, about given that you do have a set of extrication equipment, is this something that could be put up?
Sure.
But the laptops are on there.
Yes.
Okay, so we're
Through
gonna,
ambulance
we're
fund.
gonna, well, I mean, I don't want to make the decision. What do people want to do about the extrication equipment?
But let's take one step back, if you don't mind. Where did we use all the free cash? We had the 76 left after we did the snow and ice.
We've only used it for snow and ice.
well, we had 100 and,
Where the money we used to add to up to 600,000 for vocational ed next year?
Yeah.
Was a
that
total,
didn't-
was a
that didn't come
total
out
of like 82,000, but
Yeah.
that came from
That came from taxation.
moving things somewhere else
Right,
and
from
when we
taxation,
did something else.
essentially.
well, we moved $50,000 somewhere because,
Out of deficit into free cash, so it freed up $50,000 in taxation,
Yes.
which you then added to the vote for the
Right.
future. So
That's where that
that's
went.
all
Okay.
gone.
So-
But you should
So that
still
was a
have,
wash.
you still have, I don't know, the difference between 160 and 230.
Well, that's my question. So we still have 76,000 in
76,
free cash, right?
Correct.
Roughly. To spend.
Was
Okay.
did anything come off of free cash on that yet,
That capital list?
on the capital list?
No.
No,
No.
didn't look at it.
Okay, so we're talking,
how did we do
right,
the climate smart? That was going to come from,
ARPA.
That's
okay,
ARPA.
so now I have a fresh,
And then we did the plan, which is going to come from water retained,
Right.
Right, for the watershed,
so that's not in there.
right.
And that's it. That's all we've done. So,
So that's why, so we have about 76 left in free cash?
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to sort of revisit these ones that are on here identified as priorities that we haven't identified another funding source for.
so now, thank you for clarifying all that. So like the 16,000 for the extrication equipment for the new. Right, that's me,
Oh, sorry.
Can we maybe
Robots.
list them? I mean, can we
Well,
go through?
that's what I
Yeah,
was
I mean,
just
rather
gonna
than
do.
do one at a time so we can hear them all.
This is what the ones that are on here listed as priorities that we have not
Yep,
made a decision on. The extrication equipment for 16,000.
yeah.
The Elm Court Building Phase 2 for 97.5.
Where is that?
It's under DPW Highway. This is on, I'm looking at the priority sheet from the capital planning.
It's
The-
also on
It's
this
the
one, too.
narrative,
double, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
okay?
yep.
Further down, the Smith
But
Academy.
it's got a milling head for the skid steer.
But that was not put forward as a
Priority.
priority by the capital planning. I'm going off the capital planning priority sheet.
Okay.
what was, I'm sorry, what was the last? Elm
The last
Court,
one-
97, then what was the next one?
The irrigation at Smith Academy Park, 22,000. Those are, and then the HES roof, which is
And then the what?
the roof at the elementary school, which is, what's the dollar amount on that?
The school?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's,
It's way a lot. So,
Can I make a-
262,071.
It was a lot more.
Can I make a suggestion, just to think
Different.
about? Rather than, given the state of this budget, and just like, so, for example, the elementary school roof. Like, you're gonna be, I don't know, there's no one from school here, but they changed the SBA program and put a moratorium on it for now. So you're 10 years out, I think, from any possible SBA funding. So
Right.
you're gonna have to do something to make that roof last 10 more years.
right.
And it needs to be replaced, apparently.
2 years ago.
Yeah. So like, I'm wondering if it's a good idea to put on an article for a capital stabilization fund, like we did with town hall or whatever. Or can we amend the town hall one in some way and put that money into that so that when something goes wrong with the roof, you can actually fix it? Rather, you know, like, I'm thinking about what could we either do preemptively to have to replace things that are going to break down or we know are breaking down, or to get money set aside for things that we know in the near future are going to need to be fixed or replaced, rather than figure out ways to spend the money that we.
Oh, I'm not looking for I'm just, but we have to address the priorities they've given us, and
No,
yay or nay them,
I
right?
absolutely understand that, but what I'm saying is just the priorities change when your future prospects are you have no money.
Yes, that's what that's,
laptops.
Do you think it's?
Because you also have no money in snow and ice budgeted for '24,
Right.
which means next year you're gonna also have to spend your free cash on snow and ice.
and,
So at some point. you're gonna
and
have to, like,
already
start-
in the hole on both.
Right, so at some point, you're gonna start saving up some money to at least repair the roof if it starts leaking. You know, unfortunately.
So are you suggesting leaving what's remaining in free cash and,
Well, I mean, we set up a stabilization.
There's 36,630 available in the capital
So
stabilization.
we have a capital stabilization fund with $36,000 on it. It's not limited how we use it. So we could put the 76,000 in there, and then we'd have 100,000 in there. You know, and now we're getting closer to replacing the roof at some future date, rather than waiting 10 years to see if we'll qualify for some SBA program that may or may not exist 10 years from now.
So that particular program, stabilization is for capital projects?
Capital.
Correct.
I mean, I know where you were
We
going.
did it for
We
the
wanna make
intent
sure-
of the town hall, but
Yes.
it could be, yeah.
But it would be for a capital project of some sort.
Correct.
That, I think that's
is
kind
it
of.
designed to be sort of like an unanticipated type of
No.
thing? Or just, it's like sort of a savings account to,
Capital project.
You'd still have to go back to town meeting
It's-
to approve it.
You did.
Yes, you would, but it's mostly, I mean, in my mind, it's mostly like a psychological thing in some ways, like you have a stabilization account, right? So you could just put it in there, but like stabilization has a different vibe for whatever reason, I don't know, you know, it feels like people think of stabilization as being there for when things go wrong and you need to do whatever. And the capital stabilization is specifically for capital projects. So like, I think an appropriate use of stabilization might be like if you had to backfill that Smith Vogue thing, you know, an unexpected thing that comes up like that, all of a sudden we have to do it.
That's more of an operational side.
Right, or unexpected, you know, whereas the school roof is not, you know, unexpected, and the idea, I guess, would be put money away for it, knowing that we are eventually gonna have to do it, and even if we don't wind up having to do the whole thing, we're gonna have to fix it, and probably sooner rather than later.
Which one is least restricted, the capital one? Or
I
are
don't
they
think
the
it
same?
matters.
It doesn't matter?
It
You just
doesn't.
have to vote to take the money out.
Right.
It's just
Yeah,
the
either
intent
way.
of the fund, you know,
Yeah.
the intent of stabilization is more like finance reserve, like, oh, things we didn't expect went wrong and now we're gonna do something.
That's a good point.
And the other one is more like a savings account.
Yeah. I'm fine with that idea. I think the only suggestion I would make is rather than the whole 76, maybe we can put 60 and use the 16 for the extrication equipment for that other fire vehicle. It would still get us close to 100,000, and we'd knock off a capital project that's probably not going to go, the smaller one that's not going away.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's not going away.
But we do have extrication equipment.
Yeah, but if one vehicle's here and someone gets called to the other one, you know, I don't know, you know.
Well,
It's,
can I just ask a quick question about that, though? In this particular budget, Chief, is the North Hatfield Station even going to exist?
Oh, it's not.
This one, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you only need the second set of, you know what I mean? Because you're not going to have a station.
right.
Everyone
Well,
will
we
be
don't,
here.
well, yeah. If this is the budget that,
Right. So, I mean, I guess we could include it in the other one, you know what I mean?
Just throwing it out, if we're gonna head and looking for other items and it's still a low dollar, do away with the extrication in this budget because that station doesn't exist. I would rather have the technology not come out of ambulance surplus, not knowing what the future of the ambulance holds, and take that 15,000 out of the free cash instead.
Okay.
So, almost the same dollar, 1,000 less, still gets one off the table, but then we don't know where ambulance is sitting right now.
Well, right,
need
then we
more
would have the
surplus.
money in the ambulance reserve in case we need it.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
For,
Right, and in this
The next
budget with
piece,
the
yeah.
ambulance, it's gonna be tough anyway, because you're, you know,
right, it's limited hours, the
it's
equipment's still.
limited hours, all
Yeah, the equipment is
equipment's
still
what?
starting to age as far as the
Right,
laptop
so
and the
you know.
ambulance and.
Yeah.
All right, I'm fine with that, Bob, that's a good
That's a
suggestion.
good compromise.
All right, so Marlene's going to have to update the, where the money's coming
Okay.
from for the,
For the free cash?
No, for the
on the capital
laptops.
projects.
Yeah.
The laptops are now going to come out of free cash, if everyone's agreeable to that,
okay.
versus ambulance. Yeah, right
Okay.
there, yeah.
So is that, take it out here.
Pop it over there.
Okay. All right.
Right, so that should still leave
And I
us
do need
roughly
to update it
50,000.
down here as well. Okay.
Okay.
So then you put that 60,
60 would go to the capital, what did you call it?
Stabilization or whatever that.
The whole amount, right, might as well.
An article?
Is there another
Yeah, we need an
small?
article to do it.
For stabilization, okay, capital, all right, so that's the, for the roof.
Yeah, there's no question in my mind that
Well-
the next year or two, you're gonna have $100,000.
Just put it capital, no, don't put it under HES roof, put it under capital
Capital
stabilization. Because then that way, if something else.
Could be something
right,
else
yeah,
comes
yeah.
up that's
Yeah.
even worse, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I got you,
sorry, Marlene.
no, I've got the roof on my mind too, but I know what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you're talking about 60,000?
It was,
No, there's only 36,630 available.
This is out of free cash.
we're adding the,
From, okay,
adding the
Adding-
Got
balance
it.
of 61,
Yeah.
whatever it was.
okay,
61,807, isn't it?
087.
6107?
61,087.
61,000,
807, I think.
yeah.
Oh, we're taking the whole remainder
From free cash,
from free cash, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
you might as well.
Yeah.
It's just gonna roll back to free cash again. Yeah.
Oh, it's 087? Yeah. Sorry, Marlene.
That's okay. Okay, 087?
Yep.
087.
Nope, nope, nope.
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 What did
I
I do?
wish it was that.
Teasing us.
Starting Start knocking those capital projects off now.
Okay, and this is stable, whoops, oh, didn't mean to do that. Okay, and this is capital
Yep.
stabilization. Okay.
I think you have to
I think
update
you
it
have
on
to
the
change
other.
it on the other one, because it was 807 instead
Yes.
of 08.
So I'll go back and do that. I also need to come back here, I wanted to do something
Yeah.
else on that
We need
page
to go through
too.
all this with the override budget.
08.
No, I don't think so.
Can't we just do the same thing?
Yeah,
I guess so.
certainly can.
We could.
I mean, just copy
Well, you don't have,
paste.
it's not like you have,
change the capital stabilization one.
yeah.
Your numbers aren't
230, 230.
I think she's doing that right now.
236, I need to go up here too. Okay, so it has updated up there. Okay, just wanted to make sure that that number was reflected,
Doesn't.
free cash. Okay.
Yeah,
So free
sorry,
cash,
what was-
wherever you look at, the final number should be zero
because the
right now.
override was only just funding.
Free cash, we spent it.
We've spent it all.
We've
So I
seen,
don't know if
yeah, if you
that-
look
if
right
that-
there, it's zero.
Yep.
Okay.
Nothing to do
It's
with
zero.
articles.
Yes.
You gotta go back to
Who's calling me?
You gotta go back to the articles. You
I
didn't-
thought she just did that.
She did, but she only changed one column. She needed to change 2 columns.
Oh, yeah, right there. The next column over.
24.
The
Column
amount-
C.
The amount
Column
of-
C.
The amount
Yeah,
was-
so it needs to be in there.
61087.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
And then we, yeah, well, we should look at the other budget because,
Oh, yeah, to plug these in?
because you still made a bunch of other changes that really have, that you're gonna, wanna talk about how you wanna do them in this one. Because you have the $50,000 that you plugged in.
Right, so let me just check here, see where, all right, so we're at 30,712 for the reduced budget.
How did we get that?
How
high?
did that change?
That changed. Something's,
All
I
right,
thought
let me
we were
just
at like
make sure I-
$6,000.
Right, we were.
We're,
We were.
Okay, let's go back here and just make sure I.
Yep, that's
okay,
right.
236,
No, those don't line up on the
187,
right number. That-
236.
Marlene, go back to that free cash.
Yep,
They don't line up.
what doesn't line up?
The 15,
That's a balance.
Balance column.
Okay, sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
So we're
sorry.
at zero, we've spent all
right.
that.
Yep.
okay.
All right, let me go back to
so free cash looks right.
appropriations and make sure that, so free cash, 236,187.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
What did we change?
Oh, that's,
wait a minute, let me go back
No,
here. I just want
that's
to
right.
change something, or look at something. So we were using ambulance surplus, and we have decided to reduce that,
Oh, that might be the
correct?
difference.
yeah.
Yeah, ambulance surplus
Over
right
there.
here.
That's why.
That's why. So we're taking out the 50, so it's just going to be 20.
Right, that should
1,000.
change that front
Yep.
number.
Right.
See, there's so many things.
Oh,
Oops,
whoa.
wow, geez, I'm being generous tonight, huh?
Okay. Now it'll probably be right.
Okay,
Now if you go back to the,
see. I knew there was, yeah, there's so many places you have to look at.
There's
There it is.
Those are mine.
Yeah, I think we have to look at the other one because we made changes that I think we're gonna either want to make them the same or consciously decide why we're gonna do them differently because otherwise they're just gonna be different for no reason. I don't know if you really want to do that.
Okay.
and so the Elm Court building not happening, the mini splits not happening, and the Smith Academy Park irrigation not happening.
So can I just
Out of
ask a
free
question?
cash.
Can I just ask a question for you? So Marlene, are we going to repurpose the money for the bathroom?
I'm waiting for the invoice from Cody and Sons. There's not too much money left there. Let me see, we can pull that up.
Upstairs bathroom?
For the renovations, yeah.
How did we pay for that? Was that ARPA or was that last year's free cash? Last year's free cash, wasn't it?
I remember.
It came out of something like that, I don't remember.
Probably last year's free cash.
So there's 14,000 left, and you said last week that you haven't received the invoice from Cody and Sons? Plus you're using some money to purchase paint. and to have somebody do the painting.
So there's probably gonna be about 10,000 left there.
Yeah. But
That's after paying Cody and Sons and paying for the painting
Yes.
to be done? Okay.
But we can't do
We can't
anything
do
with
anything with
that.
that.
What
until
are you gonna
it's
do with
done.
10,000?
Well, I was gonna
Irrigation
say, if, to apply it to the mini splits, then you're only looking for 12.
Yeah.
Then you're only
Part
looking
of the
for
same
what,
project.
20?
Oh, yeah.
But I
Well-
thought we decided they were low priority given, or we were going to revisit them, I guess.
Yeah, so if you use the 10,000 for the work upstairs, and you still need 21,000. Because it's a $51,000 project. 20,000 is covering,
All right.
20,000 is coming from cable retained earnings.
Okay.
I think we should,
Let's
that's
go-
why I think we should look at the other budget, because that's.
Yeah, let's go
that's a
to the other
different-
budget.
That's a different, that's a very different scenario, you know, like,
Right.
Okay, so we're through with this one right now.
Yep.
you might be able to close that out. And could you actually use the money as is, or you're gonna have to close it out and then redo it?
The extra 10,000?
Yeah, because is
Yeah.
it like for the second floor, or is it specifically for the bathroom?
I don't know what it,
Well, we
it
could-
might have said second floor.
It isn't going to hurt to put an article on the warrant to repurpose it for additional work up there, and it's available, it's
To make it
there.
more generic than,
Once we know what the number
I
really
think this
is.
leftover town hall renovation money that
It
we
is.
repurposed for upstairs.
It is.
There is some,
Thank you.
No,
there's
that's
other-
where it's
That's where we took the
from
money from.
previous
John,
work.
right, I'm
remembering.
just wondering what the other article says, if it specifically says for the bathroom.
It does. This is for the second
then you
floor
have to-
bathroom renovation.
You
there's
have to
no other
get
renovation
it
money
back and
still available
redo
in
it.
other,
That money, I believe, was from downstairs, the work that was done
Right,
downstairs.
it was leftover money, yeah.
Yeah.
repurpose, so there's no other outstanding renovation monies? Okay, just about 10 grand.
All right. Do we want
So
to,
you'd still be looking for 20, which we don't have.
so on
Okay.
this budget, let's go to the free cash. Let's do the,
I have a
essentially-
suggestion about upstairs. If you decided to make it a meeting room, and I outfitted the meeting room with equipment, like monitors and such, and cameras mounted on the wall, you could probably take the entire renovation out of my money. Because I would need mini splits, I would need heat, I would need electricity, and I would need wiring. And I have money in my budget that I've saved for this purpose.
Well, it's in retained earnings.
I was waiting for you, John.
Just have to decide that's what we're gonna do. We used to huddle around that light.
Yeah, we have talked about that if there was any more work to be done up there.
We used to
but the cable
huddle around a
studio would
very
have to move up.
incandescent bulb up there for
yeah,
warmth.
trying to get warm.
When the finance committee met up there.
Go up there in the summertime. So in this, we're gonna do the same $160,000 snow and ice,
Yeah, you got it, right?
right? So we're essentially gonna do the same thing. And,
This is stabilization.
yeah, that was
Capital.
Capital stabilization. But there was also ambulance.
61,000.
We also did the
61,087.
ambulance laptops from free cash, right? Right. Yeah.
61.
And so what was this, the
61,087?
61,087? And then the laptops.
For ambulance
For
and fire.
ambulance, that was
51.
5,100.
My fingers are not. And that's 15,100. Okay.
And then you have to go, I think in this budget, we had the $50,000 that
Yeah.
we, for snow and ice, so we'll take that for the recap, so that should come off.
So then you'll have that.
So we'll have that in this, right?
All right. Is there anything else here? No, I think that was it. Okay.
Marlene, you gotta change that 35,000 too, because up on that same page, remember you guys just changed it. Go, scroll up, it's in yellow.
Oh, yeah, on other financing, right there.
That 35-1,
Yeah.
you guys
20.
moved that on the other page too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that
20.
goes to 20.
Yep.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
you gotta put the 20 in,
So it has to,
It has to be
What?
20.
20,000.
Oh, the 20, right.
Nope.
Nope.
No,
That's two.
that's 2,000.
Now we're going.
Now you're-
On the last one, and now you're taking less on this one.
Now you're going the wrong way.
I gotta say, I would not do well with this if I was Marlene. I wouldn't even be able to type, so.
You just have to remember there's other
Yeah. down-
sources that connect. And
Right, downstream. you know.
So what does that do to our bottom line now, just so we can?
that's not right.
Something's, what are we missing?
Well, if we need it for this budget, we upped to 600,000, the vocational
Voc,
ed,
that has to go in there.
Did we,
right? It's at 513.
yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't do anything.
We did 600 even from
What did we
Forget
take,
where now.
where did we take that money from?
Oh, that was,
There was
We took
extra
it from the
from
$50,000.
We took it from the 50,
Yep.
right, okay,
Yes.
thank you, Sean. But that's still, aren't we, oh, yeah.
Yeah, this should bring us to our
Should
Yeah.
the-
magic number.
Oh, we're gonna be below, because we have to increase the levy. This budget depends
local
on increasing
receipts,
the
I want to.
levy. Yeah, you didn't add the
Local
10.
receipts, Jerry, you want to add that 10,000.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Where is that?
What was the override amount that we agreed on?
I think we're gonna see it here, one second.
2, 5, 6, 7, 11 or something like that.
1, 2, 5.
Something like that. That's off the top of my head, Daryl. I'm not looking at it.
1, 2, 5, 6, 6.
So you upped it 10,000, Marlene?
Yes.
Okay.
That's bringing it in the wrong direction, though.
Dun, da, da, da.
That brought it down, yeah.
So there's 200,000 somewhere,
Yep.
but it was
Oh, wait a
operating.
minute, got to go here, did I do, yes, so that's coming out of here.
Oh, yeah. 'cause-
Yep,
Yep.
coming out of, yep.
Right.
And that's taxation.
Nope.
No, free cash.
And, oh, stabilization.
Yeah.
Capital stabilization.
Thank you.
That was really different.
What are we adding in there
Gonna
again?
pop in
The
those stuff.
60.
61087. 61087.
87.
And
Okay.
so, right now, the mini splits are showing in there.
Is it the 61087?
61087 over a column, Marlene. To the left.
I'm sorry?
Shouldn't that be out of free cash, not other funds?
Cash.
Oh, right. I was thinking it was coming out of stabilization.
It's all right.
We're moving, transferring
That's why
it
there's
out
9 of
into-
us here doing this.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got enough cooks.
Too many things.
All right.
See what this.
Some still way out of whack.
Yeah, we're still a couple $100,000.
So what did you say, Diane, about retained earnings or something?
No, I just said the mini splits are still on there, but,
Well, that's from,
yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter, it
didn't-
doesn't affect
Yeah.
anything. All right.
was there any other items we added in capital that was?
I thought we weren't doing the.
What
mini
about the
splits.
snow and ice
Yeah, but they're
number?
just your retained earnings, so they're not.
Oh, that's.
That's gone from
That's not
here.
from
That's
this
not yet.
budget.
I mean, we may.
Oh, wait a minute. No, we're funding that from free cash, right?
No, but this is for next year's budget.
Right, but we're
We're not,
That's
Not-
not an appropriation article, though.
No, it's
That's in
not.
the budget, yeah.
yes, that, we are putting 160,000 from current
What?
free cash into this year's free
Current budget,
cash.
but it doesn't do anything to this budget.
We're funding 160,000
Right.
from free cash for the snow and ice.
Yep,
So we still,
so we need
We're
to see
not?
our most,
Yes, we are.
so we still have to have an article.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
So I need to plug that in.
Yeah, but that's not the problem, that's what,
Yeah, so you should plug it in, though.
yeah, you can plug it in, but we have a problem going on here.
Okay. 160,000, right?
That's, yep. And then,
And that's
Yep.
free cash.
yep, you got it. See what we look like.
there you go. But that's too high. That's
That's-
higher
yeah.
than before. Is that higher by the, is
What was
something
the
off
number?
with the
It
15,000?
was 1246
5,
last week. Oh, 56.
1256. So is the difference could it be the 15, did we put the 15,000 for ambulance in the wrong place? 1, 2,
Did I
7,
take that out?
Free
Free
cash.
cash.
16,
But it's about that amount.
oh, that's one
much
of
is it?
those, oh,
The ambulance, wait, no.
no, the
yeah.
16
It's
was
the extrication equipment, right?
Right.
It's somewhere
Yes.
in there.
the extrication.
Somehow the extrication equipment's in there.
In where?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
It's the same dollar amount.
On the special
The difference is
appropriations
$1,000.
tab?
It would have been a here.
I don't
It's
see
not
a
here.
16 there.
It's not there.
It wasn't on Bob's particular
Where is it?
emergency,
It was on your paperwork as a priority, but it was never on this page.
It was never on
either
these
budget.
pages.
I don't remember ever adding it.
It's not
You
that.
didn't,
It's
it
not
wasn't on your
there.
page from the previous budget you guys just did, or this one.
I'm so glad you're back there looking at
So, but
that.
if you,
watching.
but remember, we also had the, we already accounted for that extra 1,807,
But
because
you
we,
changed the local
She
did change
So the
local
surplus
receipts
was
to
changed
10.
to just
But that
20.
should move in the other direction.
it did when she did it.
yeah,
Yeah.
no.
so this page looks fine. I mean,
We have an expense somewhere that's $16,000 more than it should be.
We do something with education? We did, okay.
Oh, is that correct?
We
Is
added,
that the right number?
we put 600,000.
Just made it even in the,
No, I know, but should it really, is it,
you can make it 584.
Where did we take that money from?
That was that from that 50,000 from the
was
school?
from the
uh,
50,000.
But
From
the
that school,
previous
snow and ice.
number wasn't nice
The
and
previous
even.
number was 513.
right?
Right.
That's more than 50,000.
Right.
Yeah, so we,
Right, then we upped it to like 532 or something,
Right.
or 5 something, and then we just said, add the rest.
513,796 plus, what were we asking,
It was
50?
583,196.
So we're 16
No,
over?
583 is,
196
So
was,
that could
is the
cha-
new
that number
number,
could
so you
change
take
if
the
we have to.
600,000 minus that.
We don't,
So make it 583,
we,
584?
no, not yet.
Well, just to find out where the difference is.
Can you remember the vocational increase on the override budget when it was never accounted for?
no, we never, we didn't put it on the override.
Numbers in.
But you put the 600,000 on there, can you even, should you, I'm not trying to be being a jerk, but should you even be putting it on there because this is the override budget versus the other funded one that you got?
It wasn't included in the article that went to the.
Is that
ballot.
where you're, I mean, that's a big chunk of difference of money,
Right.
I'm just saying.
that's right, the 513 is what
You'd have to figure out where to get it from.
there was a little extra, so we put it there.
Gotcha, okay.
Just because we know it'll just
No, that makes sense,
make
'cause next
this
year you're
time
gonna
next
need
year
it, right.
easier when we're.
Basically, we transferred money out of free cash into that.
Okay.
We did it via the $50,000
Gotcha.
bookmark that was in there, but that's essentially what we did.
Okay.
That number is still too big
Just
because
lessens the pain.
Gotta
the
be,
number should be
I have
563,796.
that's what I have. Because we have to base it off the
Yes.
original number of
So, right.
513,796.
So put 560, Marlene, put 563,796 in there, and now it'll be the number of the override.
Yeah.
Still
1,
not.
2, 3, 6, 611, yep.
It's 10,000 less because you.
20,000
Oh, well, 10,000 of it is because you increased local receipts.
Right.
That's where the 10,000 came.
But it was 1256.
What we submitted to the town clerk was
Right.
1256.
So there's still 20,000.
10,000.
Right.
No, it's 20.
20,000.
But you increased local receipts by $10,000 post the number you put to the town
yes.
clerk, so that went
But we're
down
talking about
10.
the question
Right.
at the ballot is going to be,
Right, no, I understand,
yeah,
but.
yeah, I
The
hear what you're
problem, the
saying.
budget is only $10,000,
Yes.
it's not $20,000. And you can spend an additional $10,000 now if you'd like, although you might want to have some room in the levy.
Yeah.
I mean, more than
Just leave it
zero.
like this.
To leave it.
Well, no, I would
Better raise it.
guess want to know where that $10,000 is first, I mean.
Didn't we leave 10,000?
We had.
Oh, yes, we
had
did.
some
So,
money
all right, so
left.
that's where that is,
That's
yeah.
our, yeah.
So there's 10 is from the Ways and Means and
Yep.
the other.
The other 10 is what,
Right.
what we had
So
left
put-
in
So,
our.
so add 10 to the
vote.
voc ed.
Yeah, and just call it a day. That gets us closer to the number we have in the other budget.
Add 10.
Gets
All right,
us-
so 573.
Yeah.
Yeah.
73, what was that?
796.
796.
796.
Now where you at?
There you are, right
There
back
we
where we
are,
were
yeah.
last week, and then you just, rounded up to 1. Here we are.
Okay.
Teamwork.
And one of us will remember that the $10,000 difference is because we received more
Right.
Local
funding.
aid.
Can you make a note in the spreadsheet?
And
for me?
that could change again, so.
It could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think, and if it changes, it's likely gonna change upward.
So,
Alls we can do is a snapshot in time.
right,
Yeah, you're
if this town meeting goes well, the vote,
Yeah.
election day goes well, what do we do with the $10,000 difference? Anything? Does it matter?
It's
You
just,
don't have to
it's
find
just,
another
it's
10 to
just,
spend? I
no,
mean,
it's just 10,000 over
you know,
the levy.
I understand, I'm
It's in
just,
case your local receipts don't come in the
Okay.
way you planned.
That's-
All right.
Then you
and
don't
that-
have to
yeah,
go
you
to a
never
special
know.
town meeting.
that's
to-
fine, I
Right.
just, you know, I'm sure that'll be a question asked. If I
No,
thought of it, somebody else will.
I mean,
so.
there's always some excess levy capacity left
Yes, yeah.
behind. Sometimes it's been as little as
Right, normally
a few
this number for us
$1,000s,
is around
sometimes
$10,000.
it's been more, yeah.
And we've gone to town meeting, the state's budget has never been, it's not approved
Correct.
yet anyway, so it's good
So
to give
there's- it's
yourself
got
some
the-
We've had
cushion.
local aid resolutions, though, in the past. The budget was not approved, but you knew what the local aid number was going to be.
Yeah.
Because they already told you that. And you might get one of those, might
Yeah.
get something like that. But, just,
job.
the back of the envelope on the levy is, it looks like, every year you gain about 3.2% between your capacity and your new growth. So, I mean, even with the override, if inflation is above that number,
Right,
you have a problem.
It's
Yeah.
a small number.
It's a small number. You
It's a
have-
small number year after year
you have
after
to
year
have more,
after
you
year.
have to somehow have more revenue. You just have to. There's no way to keep, unless you're gonna just gradually reduce services constantly over time. That's what you're actually
and nobody
doing.
wants that.
No, just think about how much of your budget is salary. If you gave out a 3% COLA, that's all you could do, basically, and maybe pay to keep the lights on. There's just, or pay your fuel increase or your heating increase. By the time you're done with that, there's nothing left.
Yep.
And, that persists year in and year out. And somehow there has to be more new growth, there has to be more revenue, there has to be something has to change, or else you're gonna be right back here, you know, maybe not next year or the year after, but 5, 6, 7 years from now, you're gonna run out of money again.
And things are going to continue to be
More
needed to be updated.
Right.
They're going to break and need to be
Well, and,
replaced
you know,
or
and-
fixed. I mean, like at home, right?
And
I
you
mean,
have some
that's the-
things built in here, you know, the lease program being built in here now enables you to get new vehicles, so people actually have stuff to work with.
Right.
You know, there's some things like that that are now built into more of an annual cost. But if all you know, if like all you ever have in a year for capital is $60,000 to $75,000.
You're never gonna
I know,
get
how do you ever make progress on
You're never
even
gonna
even
make-
other buildings, like, you know,
You're not going to.
public safety or a council on aging building, or, you know, Smith Academy isn't getting any
It's not
younger.
even in-
Like, that's the big stuff that, you
Well,
know.
what's gonna happen is your sewer plant is gonna be the capital projects for the next, until you pay it off.
Right,
So then you can talk about a senior center.
right.
You know, I don't know, how long is that, 20 years from now or whatever, however long how long is the loan?
It was 40, wasn't it?
40 years.
40 years
40 year.
for the sewer plant.
So everyone in the room be gone, basically, we can start talking about it. You know, like, I mean, yeah.
John will still
Except
be here.
John.
He'll be here.
Remember us in 40 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
You're still paying it.
And we're still paying on it, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
But your point about new growth is exactly right.
We're just,
It's just,
Really 6 or 7 years away though, aren't we kind of there?
well, you hope, I mean, you hope inflation, well, I mean, not necessarily, I mean, if the investments in the school can bring in more you know, like, there's some things you could do like that that are marginal things, but like in terms of just really, yeah.
So next week, we're meeting at the elementary school, is that correct?
On May 2nd, we're
May
meeting at
2nd.
the elementary school.
Oh.
But that's fine.
Yeah,
that's
that was
not next
decided
week.
last week.
Right, next
Okay.
week,
We said
are
we
we,
would meet the
we're
next
meeting here
3
next week?
Tuesdays.
Yeah,
Second.
25th, we're meeting here.
The 25th here, May 2nd at the elementary school.
do we have to go through the warrant tonight?
Maybe.
Can do
Like,
that
look at
next week.
The articles.
Okay.
It's not in
What did we
final.
decide?
Yeah, I think it's, well, we
Do you
should
guys
have it.
mind running through the articles? Do they need, yeah, because they're going to,
We're gonna, are we?
And I'll have to add some articles based on what we've just added from free cash. Use the free cash.
Hang on a second, let me.
You could do it next
Well,
week.
we could, all I would say is,
not have a long meeting.
there's only,
I,
what article, I mean, some is moving money around like we do every year, right?
On the warrant,
Article-wise, on the
articles,
warrant.
yeah.
I mean, I certainly want finance to stay if they can, but I'm just wondering how many articles that they really,
I'm just trying to figure
Yeah,
out.
some of it's just book.
I mean, a lot of it is, yes,
Yeah.
I guess that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
well, that's what I'm saying. It might not be that long of a thing to run through them if we run through them right now.
Right.
And that might
It'd
at
be nice
least
to
cut
have
down,
something
because
on.
next week I've got to
Is that
have
okay,
a brief,
Marlene?
as brief a meeting as possible.
Oh, no, I don't mind at all. I just.
I mean, if we just
Just
kind
keep
of
in
go through them
mind-
quickly,
Do you
as
guys
long as we
mind
have.
scanning the articles? Because some of them are, you know,
Just keep in mind, I'll be adding articles based on the work that you just did.
right.
What's on there?
That's right,
Today.
Yep,
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
one,
So I have already, gone through this
There's-
with,
yep,
there's our
everyone else
question.
yep.
yeah,
Not fun enough.
yeah, right?
So Articles 2 through
But afterwards, yeah, afterwards.
stand, well,
I've been through it.
through
Yeah, you're fine.
4 are standard.
okay.
So you have the state and federal grants,
Yep.
compensating balance, Chapter 90. Article 5, I'll be able to take this out because we don't have any prior year expenses known at this
Wow.
point.
Excellent.
So actually, I'll just take this out right now.
And that actually means 2022 that snuck in, right? Prior year?
Right, would be
20,
22.
yeah.
That one will stay, and you'll have,
Yeah. Rescind the bond.
So actually, this will be an article to pay the snow and ice budget deficit from free cash.
Yep.
Vocational tuition,
We're going to wait till the end
end
of
of the year
the
to take
fiscal
care of
year to
that.
transfer it. Yep.
Yeah. And the next article, so this is to rescind bonds that were authorized previously. And there was no reason, the treasurer did not actually do the borrowing.
Yep.
These are just authorizations to get it off the books, clean the books up.
Okay.
Article 8 is
The
for
bike path.
the rail, I
or
call it rail trail, the
whatever it is.
walking bike path.
Yep.
And that's, asking the voters if they would like to support the project with Northampton. Article 9, so the school superintendent had submitted this, I'm sorry? They would like to use special education funds to pay for expenses. This article isn't going to work for them, what they want to do. So I have,
Okay.
it
So
was there,
so we don't
but
have to.
deleted it.
Yep. Okay.
This is an article that was submitted by petition, and this changed the
State flag and
the
seal?
state flag,
Okay.
yeah. Then we have a few zoning bylaw changes. And Article 11 is to change some maps and lot numbers there. Do you want to get into this a little more, or no?
I think we should before town meeting. I just thought for
Right, right.
tonight, we were kind of zipping through them.
Deal with money.
So
That's
it
why
would be,
some-
right, it's not a money article, yeah, exactly.
But what does it do?
It's changing on map 219 lots 93 and 92 from rural residential to be rezoned to business,
Why?
and to amend the section of the zoning bylaws.
Is
to-
that,
What is it for?
This is for,
Is that a master?
which is this one for?
I mean, it's for the planning board to speak to, it's their article, but
Right.
I wonder if it's, yeah.
Or maybe it's West Street.
By,
Let me get this, I think I have this information
Oh.
here.
is that what it is?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, it could be.
right, on Church Avenue, the guy, what's he, a plumber? No.
I
Yeah.
think he is.
Is that what that is?
Right.
This is for lot 6 and 12 on Church Avenue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
so does it, clean up some spot zoning or what?
Yeah, it corrects it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's,
okay.
It would, the statement from the planning board is that the rezoning for those proposed lots would make it more consistent with the surrounding properties.
Right.
Okay.
The next article, the planning board has initially was recommending it and has now decided, they're going to be taking a vote to withdraw
Oh,
this.
okay. All right.
So, yeah, we're gonna withdraw that. And that was for a proposed development of the pickleball court.
So has that proposal
So
gone away?
that piece of property is no longer being considered because of wetlands that
Oh,
they
okay.
discovered.
That was
but
on
they're-
Route 5?
Yes, but they're looking at property further up the street.
Okay.
Still in Hatfield.
Okay.
Okay, good.
The next article changes map 216 Lot 1 and map 219.
So can we assume that these that are being submitted by the planning board are all in the vein of making sure that the zoning is more in line with the surrounding,
Some of it is a
No?
change of
No,
zoning.
there's some spot zoning.
Yep.
creating?
Creating, yep.
Okay.
The next article, this is for North Hatfield Road.
Okay.
Right, 211, yes, this applies to North Hatfield Road. Be rezoned to light industrial.
Yeah.
Okay. Next article is, we, the town, with the Phil's here, still here maybe, With the engineers from CEI, we're looking at an additional easement. 1,000 square feet would be permanent, and 1,750 square feet would be temporary. So, again, because we're in litigation, we're just taking a look at
Options.
options, correct? And this is a positive option.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so here's some capital planning projects that I had put on here. So right now, the way it's worded, it
Yeah.
won't change, but the funding source
Right.
will be free cash.
Yep.
Okay.
The forestry management plan will be the water retained earnings.
Yep.
And
That one is.
this is for the
That's for the,
heating, ventilation.
Upstairs.
Right, for right now, it
So
would
that
be-
will come from cable retained earnings.
Well, no, because we didn't decide to do it. We didn't
gonna-
fund the mini
Well, he's going to
splits.
put some monitors up.
I thought the 20,000's coming, did we take that off of there? That's on the budget?
We didn't decide to do the project. I thought,
with it, but we haven't decided whether to do the project or not.
Right, but the money would be there if and when, from cable.
Can
Would
we
be
talk
available
about-
from cable,
You're right, for the whole project.
not for the whole project.
so then why are we putting any, because the cable money stays there
It
if we
can
don't.
be,
I know.
it can be.
The-
I don't have a
Can we
total
discuss?
number.
Yeah, can we discuss this? We're still discussing this, right? As far as keeping it on or taking it off, when does Lydia, or when do we have to have these all?
I'd like
Taking
to,
it off, you could take it off 10 minutes before.
Yeah.
So we could just
right,
Just table it.
right. I would like the warrant to be signed next week.
Okay.
But
So,
I-
so I think there's still some discussion that needs to be had with that before we take it off, or before we decide where the funding's coming from.
yeah,
Exactly.
John had some ideas that should be researched.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
but if your idea goes through, that all of it would come from cable.
That's what we have to discuss.
If we were to decide to make that a meeting room, and I was to equip the meeting room with video recording equipment and display equipment, and kind of redubbed it the studio conference center with a little control room, most likely all the money for those renovations could come out of my return.
Even the mini splits.
Plus, even the mini splits, the electrical, the painting. And we also have capital money coming in our new contract that we haven't signed yet.
We are going to sign that one of these days, right?
Yeah, so we have money
Yeah.
in the
So, and that's,
HCTV contract from the Comcast that hasn't been
And
signed.
that, it actually
Yeah,
talks
that
about,
money.
it talks about capital projects, right, in the contract.
Right, and we talked about that when we were negotiating that we could use that money for work that needed to
So
be
if
done
you decide to
upstairs.
make it a conference center / studio / meeting room that anybody could use, even if I'm not
right.
broadcasting, you would have a second meeting room equipped with projectors and everything that Ed talks about,
Yeah.
video conferencing and live recording.
Right, so the decision would,
But you have to make the decision.
but you'd have to make a decision to not have it be the museum.
Exactly.
But we don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to make a museum.
What's that?
We don't have the hundreds of thousands of dollars to make a museum.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it just makes the whole issue just, it just tips the scales. My point being, though, that this doesn't have to be on there, because we haven't made a decision about what's going to happen
Right,
upstairs.
you would probably
But
have a special town meeting.
regardless,
year.
we would not need this on there. If we're not doing it, we don't need it on there. And if we are doing it, then it would all come from cable, so that could come
It
off
would have to be
completely.
appropriated.
You still have to appropriate it from
Correct.
cable
Appropriate the
retained
money.
earnings.
Yeah.
Like we're doing with the watershed.
The money.
Spend the money, you have to
Yeah.
appropriate it.
But we haven't made any decisions to spend anything.
We understand that part,
Yeah,
Diana.
so then why would it be on there?
Well,
Purposely.
we don't know when we're going to make that
You
decision.
can't make a decision if it's not on
Enterprise
there.
fund growth.
You have to wait a year.
Well, you could do it at a special.
So
I suppose you
Well-
have a special town meeting to appropriate.
Unless we're doing something else, we're not having,
We'd have to wait anyway, because we are not appropriating the rest of the money for the whole project.
Right, that's true.
but the Board of Selectmen may have a a meeting prior to town meeting to discuss the upstairs. And if something moves forward, fine. If it doesn't, we table it.
Oh, I
Or-
see. So you want to leave
or
it there,
wait-
but
or
table
wait
it
a
at town
year, Or
meeting?
wait till
Or
the
you
following
could
one.
have the meeting after it too. I mean,
Well, we
just-
could.
Just because the money's been appropriate,
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's right.
doesn't mean the project goes forward, as we know.
Yeah. Yes.
Numerous times it's been appropriated and,
Right.
they came in over budget, so couldn't do it. Just,
My point with this particular article is, rather than just have Marlene scratch it out tonight, let's just wait, because we've got 3 weeks before town meeting, and have more conversation about
cancel
what
it.
we think we may or may not do,
Right, you
if
can
anything.
cancel it right at town meeting.
We can, correct. But if it's not there, we can't do anything.
Okay. So we're leaving the
fine.
article for now.
Well, that's my suggestion, I don't know.
I would take it out, but whatever, doesn't matter.
Well, we can still take it out, we have 3
Can
weeks.
take it out, that's fine. For right
We'll wait till
now,
Ed's back.
for the sake of getting through this, let's leave it in for now, and then we'll,
Okay. They're all community preservation
those are all
articles.
just on there, right? We don't have, I mean, we don't need to weigh in
So I
on,
will be adding the other capital items that we added earlier when we were working on the budget.
yes.
All right, it's community preservation. That's an annual
Yep.
Yep.
appropriation and
Fund the
reserves
various,
budget article. And then these are projects. Community Preservation Commission is recommending $25,000 to preserve and restore historic town vital records. The next one is for $10,000 to restore shade trees.
But these are all community preservation things, so they're really not, I mean, we don't have really,
Nothing, no decision for you really to make here.
Sometimes there are.
Sometimes.
is all of that in the budget, the pavilion thing?
This one here, actually, this right here, the 400,000?
No, that's community preservation, the
Preservation, yeah.
select board one, Article 25. Does that money appear anywhere in our budget?
So the Community Preservation Commission is going to be meeting on April
think-
26th.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, oh, I see, yeah.
So Article 24, that's that's
That's
Community
CPA.
Preservation Commission, Article 24, will be meeting on April 26th, so that's in there sort of as a placeholder. But I am anticipating that they're going to be recommending to fund the $55,934, which was an authorized borrowing back in May of 2019. So before I added Article 24, the treasurer's office and I had a phone conversation regarding the authorized borrowing in 2019. And this would be a housekeeping article. So we would, just for the purpose of borrowing, bond counsel had stated that we needed to just clean this up a little bit from the prior year's vote. That's all this does, is it's a housekeeping. However, if community preservation does fund the $55,934, we'll need to rescind the authorized borrowing, the May 2019 authorized borrowing.
It's
So
not
I'm in
55 plus
conversations.
40, it's 55 minus 40. Or 40 plus 50, in other words, it's a 55,000, it's $55,934 for the project.
Right, they
All
already,
of which will be paid by
community
CPA,
preservation
hopefully.
already committed $40,504.
For another 55.
Well, that's where I,
Right,
okay, so it is a total of $95,000.
yes.
Extra dollars,
If it doesn't.
right?
Oh, mean if
No, only the 55 is extra.
But other funds have already been,
The 40,504
I know,
was
but
previously
this is all for the
appropriated.
pavilion,
That's the
right?
housekeeping thing, right?
But I'm saying
That's why
the
it's on there.
total of the project is much more than that, because over years, other things.
Oh,
were
yeah,
fun-
well, yeah, because it's
That's what
been
I'm
in
saying.
different phases.
It's another,
Yes.
plus, not really different phases, the thing just keeps getting more expensive.
Well, Phase 1 was all the landscaping, Phase 2 is the pavilion. They're
Keeps going
referring
up
to,
and-
well, the construction for the pavilion keeps going up,
And that's what this money
yes.
is. That's extra to fund the pavilion,
Correct.
on top of hundreds of thousands of other dollars.
Community Preservation felt that it was worth considering covering that 55,000 as opposed to borrowing
Sure.
due to the high
We
interest
appreciate it,
rates.
yeah.
So they're willing to consider
Yeah.
funding that prior authorization.
I understand.
it's a good
My
project
point
for
is
it.
just that that is not the scope of the project. The project's much, much larger. Because other funds had already been designated for the pavilion.
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
The end?
And so people understand the price tag of the pavilion is not $55,000.
Not the total, no, it's greater than that, as you said.
Then revolving funds.
So here's the annual revolving fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next article, so that previous article that we looked at from the school department that was, that I'm striking.
This is the special ed.
This is a revolving fund, and town council and I are still in communication over this.
Oh, this is separate from the first one that was already?
Correct,
Oh,
correct,
okay.
correct. So, yeah, there's been some back and forth communication with the school and the town accountant about this and with town council.
I don't understand this. So where does the money, so
It's tuition in money.
tuition, where does it go now?
And then,
Probably in the their general budget
It goes to the,
or school choice.
it goes to the general
goes to
fund.
the general fund of the charity sheet.
Yeah.
So then how does that affect us if it's going into revolving now?
Because this would really, my guess about this is that it would be specifically for students that are coming in to use special education.
Can you scroll up a little,
programming
Expenses.
that has been developed in the
Right.
school. So
Well,
the
no,
school-
I just wanted to see the verbiage. I
The
couldn't
school has
down-
developed some kind of a special education
There you go.
program, right?
Yeah.
And that other people might come to use said program. And this just allows the school to keep the money so that they can continue to fund it. The
Okay.
program. My only question about it is, I don't know the nature of the program exactly, whether it's full day or not, but $50,000 for a special education out-of-district placement
It's,
is not a lot of money.
no.
No,
I mean,
it's
like,
not.
they would, I presume that they would possibly, if they had any more than one student, that they would be collecting more than that.
Right.
That would be my only question.
And it'll be their responsibility to speak to this. Yeah.
They would, but as I said, I'm still trying to work out some details with town council and the accountant.
Yeah, I still don't understand it, quite honestly.
I-
I agree, Sean. I mean, just reading the boxes, you know what I mean? It's,
Yeah, I don't know if,
I don't know
I just
what-
don't know if it's like a partial day situation, you know, where it's a really limited, so the cost is limited.
yeah.
But if it's a full day placement, which I would just kind of think it would be, if you had more than one student, that's more than, you know, that's got to be $50,000.
Yeah. The revenue source and then the use of the fund is for the same.
Do other communities
I don't-
have these
wait.
funds already set up?
I don't,
I mean, like if you,
Maybe it's an easier way of tracking
there
it,
is a
using it for
provision in the
particular
statute
things.
that allows them to do that.
yeah.
They don't want to use that statute. They want to use
Is that,
some other,
I guess I'm curious, why are we doing it differently than the state allows us to do? There's a provision to do this
correct.
in state law. Why are we not following state law?
Well, I would leave that to the school
Yeah.
Yeah.
to talk to
Well, that's a good
to
question.
speak to about it.
Sometimes when you read these things, it sounds a little convoluted. You just need to ask the question of the right
They can
person who can
just
say,
explain it,
The
then-
idea is to do this. Oh,
I don't
okay.
know, I don't know if I would frame it as not following state law. We're not,
Well, I
we're
didn't
not
say it's not,
violating.
why are we not doing the same, if the state has a
rephrase that.
provision to do this, what
Yeah.
is this different? Why is this
Right, and it
different,
also has
and
a
why are we
provision to
doing
create
it?
revolving funds, which.
Well, let me rephrase that.
What they're
This
asking.
purpose currently right here that you're looking at is a authorized statute, Chapter 44, 53E and a half.
Yeah.
However, what they would like to do, Chapter 71 allows for use of funds, but the school has explained to me that they do not want, they feel it's too restrictive.
Okay, so that's
Chapter
why I
71
would
is
like
too
an
restrictive.
explanation of that. Yeah. Okay.
And then we would have our operating budget article, and Tom and I are back and forth. I was asking him about whether we could possibly have one article for the budgets, but then we would list in detail what a reduced budget would be and what the override, but he's thinking that we do two separate.
I think it should be two separate.
Yeah. I just asked him if it was an option, but, so that would,
And so that's
Is
it.
the override question right up front? Is that the first thing we do?
Oh, the
that's
night
part
you
of the budget article. That's part of the budget article.
It's usually taken at the end.
No,
Oh,
but
no,
we
it-
do elections.
Oh, yeah, that's on the warrant, right here at the,
It
on the
it was
very
number
first
one,
page.
the question is there.
The question's there.
So
But
the,
that's not the one that's voting on the actual override.
correct, just
Don't we have
the
a
question.
separate question?
This is the ballot
just for
Yes,
the
it's at
override?
the end.
It'll be in the
It's
budget. It'll be
It's
in
the
the
budget
budget
question.
article. So it'll be two separate.
That's why
budget
it has
articles.
to be two separate.
Right.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
kinda what-
checking.
That's kind of what I was talking about when we first had the conversation.
Right,
Right.
What,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, so, I mean, yeah.
I was looking
You
at
don't have to put it at the end, though.
the budget. No, we
No.
don't.
There's
No.
no reason that that has to happen.
We can move that
I think the
wherever we
reason it
like.
usually happens is because everything
the
that leads up to
lengthiest-
it, that's an article of money, which does or doesn't pass, which may or may not affect the
I mean,
budget. But I hear you though, because
If it were me.
I was thinking
would
the same
take it-
thing.
I would take it early on.
Yeah.
It's to, because, you know,
Yeah.
just
It
when
risks losing your quorum, though.
we have energy to deal with it.
Right.
I don't know if we'll lose quorum. I think that
Well,
there's,
if everybody stays to talk about the budget, if you take the budget up at the beginning, people aren't gonna stay around.
yeah, but I think that there's
Yeah, but
other
nobody
things
seems to
on
talk
here
about
that I think
budget
we'll have
topic.
quorum.
I mean, they might.
Oh,
this
yeah, you're
time.
not wrong. It depends on what the
They
budget
might
topic
this
is. You're
time,
right,
but
you're right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
We actually tend to sometimes almost, I believe, lose quorum at the budget because everyone
Yeah,
is
you're not
already
wrong.
leaving.
Sean makes a good point.
I mean,
Make
people
it
who are here for
earlier,
the
you have,
zoning
you
stuff.
do have the energy
They're
for
gonna
it.
stay till it ends, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it does, I would be fine with moving it up.
Just because of the energy level, you know, like, I think you want, and if there are gonna be parents there with kids, you know.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that-
yeah. I'm fine with moving it up, taking it up early and then,
You can do that.
Get through maybe the
Get through the base.
debate,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got
We'll
it.
take all the money we can get from all the various things.
Okay.
that's not a bad idea. I mean, because it is, you are, I know that there's going to be a lot of school families there. and
Sure.
That's,
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it can be right before these.
Before the zoning
Well,
bylaw
I mean,
changes?
I
Or
don't-
I was thinking even before the petition.
Yeah.
I was
fine.
thinking, yeah, I mean,
I mean,
All those things are.
we can figure all that out next week, but
Yeah.
We did talk to Joe about this.
I was thinking maybe right after Article 7.
It's in the middle.
Or
Article 8's going to have some
there will be
comments on
some
it too.
discussion there, yeah.
I mean, my feeling is if you're going to move it around, put it right at the first one after all those,
Do it
you know,
at 7, 8, or
housekeeping
9, or
ones.
right in those little,
I think it would send, I mean, in my mind, I mean, no offense to anyone who is heavily involved in any of these other things. That's the most important thing we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Like, that's gonna decide what happens in the next X number of years in town.
well, the future of the town.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what's on the,
That's
that's what's on the question.
That's what it's
So,
all about.
If we're, you know,
I mean, let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
It's the future of the town, right?
Yeah.
So, yep.
I mean, so I think if we're going to move it, just move it, after all those, that first handful of boilerplate stuff, put it right up there.
Do that.
Yeah, right in there somewhere, Marlene, I think.
Go down and.
I think the order of other
Maybe
things
that
is fine.
some people also want to stay for the rest of it, but it might be difficult. What time are we starting?
6:30.
6:30, yeah.
I think if there's a way of doing it also, and we are
So
going to move it up, I think we need to let people know we're moving it up. That's got to be part of.
Yeah, because people might
People
think
might
they have
"Oh,
time.
There's 30 articles, I'm not showing up till 9:30 or
Right.
something, you know? So,
Which is never a good idea because these things are not predictable.
no. All you need is someone to take something out of order, which
So before Article 7,
do that too.
before this one?
You should probably have a conversation with the moderator and
I was thinking that.
Yeah, you could move the
Let 'em know.
pro forma stuff up to the front too. You know, like, that stuff doesn't take any time.
What, all the boilerplate stuff?
Rescinding the articles,
Yeah.
the old articles and
And-
stuff.
Authorizing, applying for grants and all that stuff. There's
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
we get through
just
that in
takes
minutes.
I mean, that one you might have to like explain why we're not doing those borrowings at a very quick level, but I don't think people have a lot of questions about why we didn't borrow something from 2014. that-
Right.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, we got the money somewhere else,
Right.
or we didn't need the project, so.
Yep.
Well, I know the Green Communities, that was a grant, so the money
Right.
came in for, and then the same thing with the Horse Mountain.
Right, and
article.
sometimes
That
we
was a grant.
put these things out there in case
Right.
we don't get it, you know, or
Roofs and
whatever.
windows are school choice money, I think, or very little money that.
Yeah, I mean, that
Yeah.
can all be
Yeah.
explained that night, but that is, in my opinion, that's kind of a housekeeping article. So
Yeah.
it should go, in my opinion, if we're going to take it up at the top, it should go after Article 7. It should be Article 8, be the budget.
Okay.
We good?
We are good.
Okay.
I'm running out of steam. I'll make a
We're done.
motion
I'll
to
see ya.
adjourn.
Oh, we're good too, Marlene?
Are we good, Marlene?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, second.
Motion made and seconded. I did.
Can we leave it after our play?
Aye.
Aye.
We should just walk away.